don't forget your Twitch drops. Though I really doubt chat's forgotten.
We're spamming it, for sure.
I'm sure they're reminding everybody. But welcome back.
Giveaway.
Yeah.
Giveaway.
Giveaway.
DreamHack Maeve?
DreamHack Maeve. Oh.
We'll leave that to the chatters there. You all should recognize these two faces. We got Bitey and Metapusher joining us once more. Yeah,
Coach
Coaches
Squad.
Squared.
We're here.
Yeah, you're here to give that extra level of insight.
That's
into
right.
this
We're here
final
to
match.
analyze this very NA-heavy finals. There's a lot of
So
North Americans
much.
here, and, we're just ready.
Yeah, there's so much NA. But the teams that are there, they fought really hard, going 4-0 in their semifinals. And I know there's been a lot of talk about why that may have happened. So with the map bans coming out to Frozen Guard and Splitstone Quarry, Bitey, how do you think it's going to be a bit different now that we're stepping away from the NA to EU matchup and going back to just EU?
So I'm a little interested when you do this kind of sudden gear shift from NA drafting to EU drafting. I'm thinking FNATIC will be just fine, but there might be some kind of residual, like coming off from a real high win. Yeah, we dominated the North Americans, and now they got to settle back down, refocus, and play against Na'Vi here, who I think will have a really good shot. It's just going to be interesting whether they can keep their momentum. They both went 4-0 in their sets, and they both looked extremely clean. You know, you just can't really underrate that enough. It's like both of these teams are looking powerful, looking strong, and I think they're ready to start some lifting.
And even though they both have qualifying positions to the World Championship now, this is still a very important match. It determines your seeding, it sets the tone, it tells you who you're going to be playing against once you get there. So with Ice Mines being the first map, Metapusher, how do you think this is going to start rolling off?
Probably 3-3, if I just had to guess. But this is a really strong map pick for Na'Vi. It was banned against them by both NIP and us, and rumor was going around that they had a lot of preparation for this Ice Mines pick.
So with it slipping through then, do you think, Bitey, they're really going to capitalize upon that?
So this is maybe something in relation to a little bit of Kanga history, is that you master these off-main maps, as you could call them, and you develop a really strong setup for it, and you could run away with these games. Now, it is Ice Mines. It's a 3-3 city, so I'm curious to see whether it's going to work out.
Well, we did see a 4-0 on Ice Mines yesterday, so there's no telling.
I had a 4-0 on it, too.
Yeah. Sorry, Bitey. Was it too soon? I'm sorry, man.
It's a little too soon for me.
Just a little bit.
I gotta check my board.
Yeah, when in doubt, pet the bork. That's what you always got to do. But Ice Mines has been something that for a while was kind of one of those bottom of the barrel maps that when you go with a lot of your comfort, you pick it if you really want to extend that push. So with it being more of a comfortable pick for Na'Vi here.
Look at that suit.
Oh, fancy Thiel.
A tie and a little
Looking
vest.
dapper.
Do you think, Bitey, that gives them a little bit of an edge here? Rocking the vest and the
you
bow
know,
tie?
I'm telling you right now, as a connoisseur of American flags and nationalistic pride, I believe he's going to be the one in control of this whole thing. Look at him.
He's
Fresh
looking
off the
good and
press.
feeling good. When you look that good, how can you not play good?
Whoa, look at this band.
Wow.
You know you're getting spicy
Wow,
the
when you go for a healer.
Genos band. Holy.
Whoa!
Oh my God. Spunkki.
What? Why do you think that happened, Metapusher?
I think they want to play the other supports. I think Spunkki really wants to play Ceres.
I feel like this is like just a fireback. Like, you ready for it? Because I think you're ready for it. Look at this stuff.
Saib's got an American flag on.
These bandanas sure are getting around. I wonder who brought them all.
You know that NA had to be in the final somehow. So this is just ensuring it. But with wanting to maybe bring in the Ceres and stuff, probably easier to do when you take out the top two supports.
I mean, this opens up kind of anyone's game, and this is one of those harder things to prepare for, is when you ban those two major healers, it opens up potentials for who's mastered these off classes more. Do we have that Pip, the Super Grover, the Great Ceres, and maybe even a Ying, but I kind of doubt it.
Well, and something also to think about with these off supports that we don't see that much is they're very big ults. The Pip and the Ceres ult are completely game-changing, and that's what I like to see people draft around on Ice Mines, because it so often comes down to that final point fight.
Yeah.
I'm so surprised we don't hear Simsilo yelling out there, Pep, go for Pep, lock him in. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see him at some point.
I think he'll be grabbed out here. We can see that there's some comfort picks coming through, just generally good heroes. I think the Ruckus right here, you're not seeing Terminus, you're not seeing Inara, because there's no real pocket healers. You know, there's not these great pocket healers. The only one who's going to be free is Ceres. And, I mean, Ceres has been questionable for quite a long time on whether she helps heal the team very well. So it looks like they're prioritizing those Grok and Andys. Grok has great support, really good fresh ult. I'm curious if they're looking for the Ceres or if Navi is, and if she even gets picked at all.
See, I think the Terminus would be a really good pick here just because of how Ice Mines work. Having that ultimate to revive you back to life and, you know, kind of save you from making a mistake in positioning is really strong. Torv Ying. Are we watching Chinese games now?
Yeah, no, I'm not sure. And we're getting a Tyra pulled out from FNATIC. That must be because I told him to, because I'm always pushing for the Tyra. Hot fire on the floor. You better watch where you step there.
You're saying you didn't expect for the Ying to come out, though. Here
Yeah, I'm curious if, like, so they've got Torvald, and the bubble's going to help keep somebody alive. So you don't need that super pocket healer, and there comes the Ceres pulled out. So we're coming into that last pick, and what's Navi going to be looking at?
Grok's been performing better with having somebody else alongside him, too, to heal. So it makes sense that Ceres would go ahead and get locked in.
I mean, a Buck pick right here could be really good, and that's honestly, this is like literally a QG comp from DreamHack.
Yeah, this is looking pretty historical right here. I'm just curious as to what this last pick can be. There's a lot of options on the board, and then Talus. So that's going to be Antediluvian for that anti-heal to maybe block.
Also, a global ultimate, which is very impactful on Ice Mines. You could do some weird, janky dismount stuff.
So since we took all the coaches and put them on the desk, Coach Nick over there taking over some roles representing for EU, but we got casters on standby to bring us the action once more. So here we go. Evan and Vox, take it away.
I want him dead. Get him out of my face.
There we go. Something like that, right? I walked out a second ago. It's just like, all right, let me go and grab a drink of water. And there's Nick wearing a FNATIC gear. I'm just like, what? Did you win a jersey? Did you 1v1 a player? And then I see Thiel sitting down there looking dapper as heck.
The man's wanted by a lot of esports organizations. The second we don't let him cast 2 sets today, he already joins FNATIC. We got to make sure we give him enough screen time. Otherwise, he's gone. Of course, I'm Rain Day. That's Vox. Taking it in, it seems like there is a bit of a lighthearted tone between these two teams. I wouldn't say that they're not going to go at it and try and get this seeding because it does matter, but any way you slice it, the groups that they're getting in at Hi-Rez Expo are both really dangerous looking.
They very much are. I mean, the draft so far is looking a bit, as Metapusher was saying, QG crazy, but this is, in fact, the only game so far at LAN that we haven't had Bomb King picked or banned, and that's an Agony Ceres. That's a stun-based Ceres build from Gerrah, and this could be really pretty big. Look at the synergy potentially of the lack of team shielding that could come through from, of course, Navi. Convergence goes out, pulls everybody in. Firebomb does big damage, shot pulse, and then also the stun from Agony to hold everybody in place. That's just, this is a wombo combo.
And I think the thing is, you don't even need the Convergence stun. If you get Agony, a second and a half, guys. We're talking 75% the duration of a seismic crash. It's extremely impactful. We haven't seen it. But we'll have to see how they play around this one. Both these teams, they're going to Worlds, so that's why they've got the smiles on their faces. But when it comes to playing Paladins, they both want to win.
Oh, we've got ourselves a Paladins here, and Thiel taking the typical frontline route right to the backline, looking for the fireball. Talus half health already, is actually re-engaging here, thanks to the Torvald bubble there from them. Protection keeps him alive, and a first blood from a huge reversal.
Yeah, catch these hands. Bugzy also takes down spunkki here. Unbelievable. Finds Fisheko in the return, and Faenex here left alone. He loves the ruckus, but I'm not sure if he's loving it now. He's getting focused down by Saibade, who's on a 2 streak, and these are 2 good totems to bounce off of, but Mutu finds one. Mutu forces Ceres back into the Shadow Realm, and with this Drogo's controlling the skies, I think she wants to stay there a little bit longer.
Yeah, just going to wait for a second to get back into it. And FNATIC, they do have fast respawns coming through, but actually that's a direct impact. Rocket there, and Fisheko's trying to make their way in, but sent quickly out again.
He got actually healed up by the Restore Soul from Ceres, which is why he was able to dash in, despite taking that 1100 plus damage from that Fusillade rocket. Thiel here goes into the shield, and he's wearing the American pride, so him and Nick have had some conversations, both sharing the taste of each other's cultures here in Vestiges outside of the realm and inside. Thiel as well, continuing with this fireball pressure, who's notably been very effective thus far.
So far, so good. Thiel looking for the damage, can't quite close out a kill. Tal's very narrow there. You can see Spunkki trying to get a bit of chip capture going. Thiel's going to throw up the shield and contest, and the firebomb pressure from FNATIC will actually allow them to gain some incremental progress here, but it's 90% for Natus already here, and they're going to take this one if we don't see anybody just contest.
Creative sounds a kill, and that's big time there. They get 2, they have the advantage. Oh, Convergence! Hello! Fire right back on the top. and doesn't even use the fireball to finish it off. Thiel's still alive, but that ult from Saris has already changed the tide towards FNATIC.
Thing is, Cybate's re-engaging here, coming out with a Tempest, but everybody dies around them. Not enough healing in, not enough time, and they all fall down as Na'Vi look to capture to start things off, but can Androxus contest?
I don't think so. Nullify. How? bugzy as well finds 2, but it's still going to be Na'Vi who ends up getting it, and we've seen this a lot, Vox. You get that early objective capture. It's 3 minutes gone by, and then you all die, but you get your last foot, your toe on the point, and you get the objective.
Goodness me, it feels like it's Ice Mines. Notably, Ying's still in the corner there. Everybody's run straight past her. I'm waiting for somebody to turn around, and actually spunkki's looking for a back door here. Look at the ultimate come out as well, making sure that he can 1v1 the Grok.
Yeah.
Very cheeky play, but will it last for long?
I mean, they've got Ying ult ticking in, and
To
spunkki
safety.
very
Wow.
smart there. Illusory Rift allows him to actually rotate and teleport to any of his teammates who are actively receiving that healing instead of any deployables. Those are also available, but it just gives him so much more flexibility if he's in a bad spot. And Cybate as well forces the totem, but this now is all about creatives on this Talus. Can he be effective? He actually jukes out with a little bit of a wall jump there over Fisheko's nice reversal, and he stays alive.
Yeah, notably as well after Fisheko's performance on Drogoz in the previous set, it's curious to see Fisheko as, oh goodness me, True Power Channel takes him down, but Fisheko not on the Drogoz, Mutu not on the Androxus. This is a bit of a role reversal here for FNATIC, and so far Na'Vi starting to come out ahead.
A little bit of a role reversal, a little bit of a hot swap, you could say, coming in. Maybe a hot swap 4 on Drogo.
Yeah, I actually like that card. You know, when I was back importing loadouts from bugzy, because, I mean, who else are you going to grab Drogo's loadouts? Maybe Fisheko now from, and I was looking at that. It's a very useful one to have in there, but no, more about propel and survival here to keep them alive in the masterful resets.
Yeah. I think that's more important here, too, on Ice Mines as well. You're playing the Fusillade, but they're still also clumped up. You can almost guarantee that reset coming into value. spunkki finds a nice kill in the middle of the air onto Fisheko. The Androxus God Slayer will fall and go back to base, but his team keeps on pushing through. FNATIC stalwart on this defense, and Natus Vincere not really able to push this beyond halfway.
So far as well, we're seeing a bit of an elemental composition coming out of FNATIC. There's a lot of fire on that team. If you're going by the last Airbender kind of mentality as well, Lightning also tying into there as well, as the Lightning whole plasma thing was also from Avatar the Last Airbender there, but still FNATIC unable to really make too much headway pushing back on defense right now. Ultimate started to come out big. Convergence pulls in so many.
Oh, Fisheko even catches a little bit more damage and tries to throw it in, but it's already been cleaned up before him. And it's definitely FNATIC who have control over this. I've seen 2 convergences this game, and I've seen 2 complete team fights go the direction of FNATIC. Na'Vi on the offense, but now it's all squared away heading into round 2.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm seeing a pinball game happen. When that convergence happens and a shock pulse gets sent out to the knot of players, and here was the double kill right there. Here was the triple kill, finished off with nade launcher, and then is able to easily clean up the Drogos afterwards, just burning everybody to a crisp. So bugzy doing some work on Tyra so far, but Na'Vi, they're holding on. It's all tied up 1-to-1. Ultimates is still in the tank with a Hexafire and a Dragon Punch as well. I'm looking towards FNATIC to really utilize the Immortal Well and group around that in order to prevent Na'Vi from running away with some of their other ults.
I think Thiel's doing the right thing here. Master Riding, too. He is the only person in this game who has that card. He's going to get to the fight much faster than everyone else. Na'Vi better be careful going into this one, because a fireball might just be what awaits them here.
I'm getting a sense of really bad Ice Mines deja vu from a long, long time ago with the 5-man fireballs coming through, but Creative's looking towards Fisheko to try and shut them down. Will the God Slayer do it?
He's up in the air. Creative sends him right back down. He is not having fun with this Talus matchup. He seems to be able to get it. Fernando has the Immortal too. Another fireball, you're right, could be coming, but he goes in the Immortal and he tries to stay alive, but realizing the pressure's coming, and the Dragon Punch as well.
Dragon Punch does connect. Mutu cleans up bugzy. Cybate closes out a kill in response. But again, Na'Vi are in control of the objective, and they just have a lot of things to shoot at as Faenex dumps a Hexafire straight into Thiel, picks up a double kill, and all of FNATIC go back to base.
He brought out the big guns for sure. Fisheko bringing out the small revolver, and it's still not enough. Na'Vi having a little bit of an edge yet again in FNATIC in the initial point fight. yet they somehow have dropped off later and later as these rounds have gone on. So maybe FNATIC still have something left in the tank.
The ultimate, the zoning coming through. The Hyper Beam from Torvald sends Thiel off the objective. It's 96, it's 99. Will anybody step on in time? Overtime is here, but will it last for long enough?
Crossfire, convergence. Is there enough time? I think it might be. It puts spunkki on the point, but they do find a kill. Cybate gets one. Fisheko still alive on the backside. Mutu as well flying in and finding the Androxus. And this is Creatives with yet another one on the Talus. A pick that I think has done very well for himself on this map. We don't see this combo very often.
I think it's partially due to the zoning that Talus can provide with a lot of safety thanks to Rune of Travel. As soon as you're in danger, you go back behind many walls, many corridors, you can't be chased down very easily, and then the burst healing from Ying with maybe as well the Illusory Rift ultimate can come through and just help save your life. But now the payload is starting to push. This is a different story from the last round. FNATIC are losing ground to Na'Vi here, and they've got to be careful not to give up too much.
Ghostwalk from Cybate's a little early, and if Cauterize is online enough, he's going to be pressured. Faenex backs off. Doesn't like what he sees, but it's still a good matchup right now. He's got emitter as well. This is an easy pickup.
Yeah, can't run away fast enough right here, and Thiel's being forced backwards as well. Faenex on Ruckus has been a very, very scary force of nature throughout the duration of this tournament so far, and continues to be the case as Faenex cleans up one, looks for bugzy, missiles to close, misses the kill.
But saves the emitter. He's a master at doing that. We saw him survive Splitstone Quarry things, get 3-4 kills, turn the tide of the fight in the PPL, and then just have that emitter keeping him up and toasty. Unbelievable has that Hyper Beam charged to about 60%, but not enough. Creatives takes down one, and Mutu again with two. His first shot at Drogos of the day. He's been looking fantastic.
Yeah, and that's Creatives with the cleanup. FNATIC falling behind Na'Vi with the highest streak on that team. I think Torvald with 10 right now are just starting to pull ahead, and you can see they're looking towards Cybate. Maybe not all the smiles we saw early in the draft as they've started to realize that this one won't be quite as much of a friendly game as before. Cybate able to pick up a double from the back of the convergence, but that coordination, that kind of kill and setup that came from convergence just wasn't there the second time around when it mattered on the objective capture. Now Na'Vi are sitting at a 3-1 point at 9 minutes and 15.
Justina's invested into master riding now. Fisheko also, so Fisheko. He told us it was Fisheko, and that's why we started saying it differently for those who are curious.
You know, apparently that's a little bit of Slavic pronunciation coming through there as well, because a couple of people have talked about that on Twitter as well that I've been following along with, and they go, I've always pronounced it Fisheko, it's just kind of what I've been used to, and whilst Fisheko does live in the UK as well, I think there's that kind of background coming into play there, but look at unbelievable positioning. Takes round to bubble Creatives here already, one big shutdown. The fish goes back to base.
And I like this. He goes left side. He doesn't have the Hyper Beam to play around and knock people off the map, so he decides, let me use my range as Torvald, this newly adjusted gauntlet of his with so much magic, so much power, so much time spent into perfecting it. It's proven a valuable resource in these team fights, and FNATIC fall yet again. Na'Vi seem to control Ice Mines incredibly well.
Faenex in a lot of trouble, does end up falling. 69 and now 72% stacking up on the objective. Somebody's looking for a flank. Thiel might be able to get there, but can't be slowed down, and the slow from the self-shield forces out Immortal. That's the capture that should be coming through. True power just to secure it at the end, and Na'Vi pick up victory in game one.
And, you know, this is the version of Trash Talk that's fun and lighthearted. I think these two teams so excited not only to represent Europe in the HRX World Championship, but just knowing each other, being a part of that league, I think very proud of what they've been able to do. The top 4 teams in the European PPL are representing where only one team from North America are, and I think that's just why this all smiles, even if they win or lose at this point.
So far, so good then. Look at the slash lines down the bottom. The things that are really standing out to me right now is the fact that Kratos is able to pick up 14 individual kills, but Faenex 17 assists, and the highest damage on that team and in-game at 73,000. Creatives was very much enabled by the Torvald as well, being played by Unbelievable through the duration of this game, receiving some really clutch protections towards the end of their health bar, not at the start to engage with, but when they were very vital to really promote the survival. And you can see here, goes in big, then gets the protection, goes back to safety, 16's streak, because they're able to play so safely.
You know, one of the things, too, in Ice Mines, you have this kind of Rune of Travel mechanic that a lot of people don't take advantage of that I think comes to play a lot more in this map due to its length. When you get pulled back by the timer running out on Rune of Travel. It's a complete cleanse. Everything that is happening to you, whether it's CC, especially keeping you in place, locking you down, maybe taking away a flanker's life, that is kind of the kryptonite, so to speak, of a flanker, crowd control. It gets broken. Now, if you activate it earlier, of course, you don't get that CC benefit, but a lot of times these fights, I think we saw one of those clips as well, right at the edge. He's trying to get that kill and just being pulled back, an extra layer of safety on this map in a pretty normal circumstance, I think.
And now we're moving forwards towards map 2. FNATIC down a game, Na'Vi up 1. It is a best of 7, folks, so plenty of wiggle room for both of these teams. And the next map up will be Bright Marsh, a European favorite here, this seems to be.
I think, I don't know how this is going to look, because these two teams...
Sky.
Yeah, I don't know. They could do anything, Vox, at this point.
We have seen Zin on this map before, actually. Played a little bit by SK earlier to varying degrees of success, but if you're going to do it, it's a small and confined map where you can get that kind of fidget spinner back and forth wildfire playstyle going on.
I don't know if that's what teams are going for in terms of... It's
Seems
not
to be
the safest. It's definitely the most high yielding if you execute it well, but there's a lot of... still a lot of gaps, I think, in Zen and why we only see him in very small places.
A lot of those gaps actually introduced by the recent nerfs to Billow with an increased cooldown rather than being able to infinite with Chronos 3 for a long time, which is really what kind of cemented that playstyle.
Infinitely invulnerable.
Yeah, we haven't got the Zin Salu playstyle way. I remember the first time that I'd ever seen that, and I ended up writing an article about it on Paladins World because Simslu was able to overtime by himself a point for 3 minutes.
Wow.
Which is just insane. But Na'Vi this time around have first pick.
Wow.
First ban as well. They've got to take the Makoa away from Thiel. I think despite that being actually given to Thiel playing versus Virtus Pro during the PPL for finals, it's just a respect thing at this point.
Yeah, I think this is something that also helps to make sure the conversation is around the Inara Terminus kind of duo, because you really want to make sure, I don't think it's so much about the counter anymore, that you get one of those. Banning the Makoa make sure that you can get one, because the other team, if they ban it, you grab the first one and you either have the 1-0 advantage, or if you leave it on the table, they get one, sure, but you can follow up with a pick and not be kind of outboxed on that point, have that lack of staying power that we saw really happen to Purity when they faced Na'Vi.
So both the Stellaga are now available. We do have Ruckus banned out. Another respect ban, more than anything else, it seems, because Faenex's Ruckus has done a lot of work on this pick, on this map, throughout the duration of the LAN so far, and FNATIC just don't want anything to do with it. So you can see their strategy is kind of aiming to push people out of their comfort zone. This means that, again, Bomb King is available. Will they be passed up for Terminus or Inara? Potentially. And Terminus does go through his first pick.
I think you got to take Daddy Term here.
Yeah.
You got to take him. FNATIC, they got to run with an Inara. At this point, it would be... I mean, if the Ruckus was there, you could maybe say that's fine, but I think everyone's seen Terminus and Inara go together. Those two are like peanut butter and jelly. They are inseparable, especially if you want a good tasting sandwich. And I think that's what FNATIC are going to go for here, to combo with the Bug. But no, they leave it open. And Na'Vi now, are they going to call that bluff?
Well, they could potentially draft into Inara. They could also potentially draft into Maldamba as well for the very strong pocket. This has been talked about a lot throughout the duration of the tournament. If you get Maldamba with the Mending Spirits, it's very good. Grok has often been brought in to supplement these two, either with Maelstrom or Totemic Ward as their legendary. Totemic Ward providing a higher healing throughput as well, so very useful for controlling this objective space. But FNATIC might be looking for more of the solo frontline style here, and maybe going to try and get into the backline, disrupt and kill, and then focus on the objective rather than anything else.
They might be going for that. That's absolutely correct. They could even bring Drogos out here, especially since they have the double blaster.
Strip him away.
Yeah, which is something that would be interesting against Na'Vi, and we've seen QG do as well. The Inara isn't there, so the Fernando, though, is that single tank. That will be an interesting matchup, because they're going to have to frag out.
Will be quite interesting to see if that's... I would expect, honestly, in this point in time, an Aegis Fernando. The lower shield cooldown allows you to block more Grok Shock Pulses, which would be very valuable against preventing that consistent spread damage.
Okay, Thiel.
Taking Maldamba away as well feels like FNATIC want to strip that from Na'Vi so they don't have that pocket available to them. And as a result, Na'Vi can now look towards some damage. They've got direct, they need some AoE potentially here. Genos would be the support to go for if they don't want to run a solo Grok, but it's triple frontline with Barak as well. And now FNATIC are looking at this going, we've really had all of our frontline options besides Torvald stripped from us. And I don't think Buck and Bomb King with a Torvald are enough to break the base. FNATIC might even be looking potentially towards the Drogos here just to get that extra kill potential going on. But hello, second game in a row. And the finals outcomes, Tyra and Firebomb is the name of the game for breaking up the Stone Wardens grouping.
I'm laughing at this
Point
because
fight.
I mean, it's so often that we see bugzy and his team go back to a pick after losing to the pick. And it's just like, that's FNATIC's nature. They love it. They love testing themselves, saying, oh, we had the right idea. Of course the Tyra could have worked there. Didn't execute it. The threshold for execution is insanely high here for FNATIC. And Na'Vi, they are sitting pretty. And that's, I mean that literally. They could just sit there on the point and look pretty. It's really going to be up to FNATIC to stop this and break through this fortress, so to speak.
It really is. I'm looking at it. It's like you've got this real castle coming up on the objective. You've got Barrack with their turrets on there. It is a fortress with all the defenses going on, but the thing that I'm wondering right now as well is Tyra, I think in a more recent patch, not the most recent, it was a few ago, I think she was changed so her Firebomb now does damage to deployables.
It's actually a very interesting conversation. I know that change was discussed, but the real key for me too, Vox, is the lethality of the Firebomb, getting that extra buff so that when you do stand on it, it is more viable. And we haven't seen any team beside SK really go to it consistently. We've seen Splice run it twice. Oh, isn't that nice?
And now Mutu as well. Look at that, the totemic ward for Grok, just getting the extra support online. This is a team comp that wants to get onto the point and is not going to move from around it, whereas on the other side of things, what I'm loving right here, and if you can swap back to the legendaries very quickly, was Fisheko sticking with Chain Reaction? They were indeed. So look at this, bugzy's running Tyra's Hunting Party legendary here. They're going for the bonus damage on the weapon shots right here, so we'll be able to augment very, very strong kill potential against a single person, setting up initially Firebomb to the objective, exactly what you'd expect, but around comes Thomas looking for a flank. Unbelievable, almost falls, but my goodness, straight back up to full with a healing totem.
It's smart play, and I think what FNATIC are doing are saying that Tyra is such a strong counter to standing on the point. Na'Vi are going to have to fight around the outside of the objective as long as bugzy's alive. But if bugzy goes down, I think that threat is going to be completely mitigated. Fisheko looking to fall. Faenex finds first blood, and that's not good for FNATIC.
No, FNATIC now need to disengage. Cybate is looking for the Genos in the background. Void Grip comes up, the Rex spray on the wall. Of course, it would be Cybate as well that comes out from, but Buck actually going to have a difficult time in boxing out the Barrack here because the Barrack is able to swing, dance around deployables, dance around the barricade, and gets fragged out in response.
Noticeably, Thiel talks about creatives. He plays a fantastic Barrack because the man can aim, and Tinkerin, it does its dang thing, but he doesn't have that frontline mentality. As you can see, he's really playing for himself here, using it as more of a tanky flanker, and Na'Vi are capitalizing off of that to add some extra damage and pressure, while the Stigala stay on point and hold it down. 1-0 goes the score, and Na'Vi are in the lead.
I'm so glad that Tinkering had the damage nerf back to the 550, which it was beforehand, not the 650 it was before, because watching creators play them does end up falling to Thiel, just landing the shots again and again with the accuracy that a sort of damage vein has is very, very well, dangerous to look at.
Nice stun through the window, through the wall. Gerrah takes down one of the other stones, and it will be Thiel following up onto the other who was in the back line. And now Na'Vi pushed back. FNATIC have done a good job defending, but Bright Marsh, a much smaller map. Any small mistake could pay big for Na'Vi and pushing this forward and making it possibly a 2-0, but they've got a lot of work to do. Fisheko getting poked out here on the right side.
Yeah, if there's a team wipe coming through, this payload will make it almost all the way through into the base. Watch out for the accelerator field actually as well, being run by creators. Would love to see what loadout cards they have, because if that's at a higher level, that can allow Terminus to kind of run in very, very quickly, and it is at level 3. 75% movement speed for initial 3 seconds after passing through that, but Fisheko doesn't care, because straight to the backline they go, and spunkki falls down.
Good Poppy Bomb finds the corner, but he also runs into Mutu, who's on the Grok, and just shock pulsing away. Up into the air, and down comes the seismic crash. And it definitely is making earthquakes here on Na'Vi's team, and so they elect to go for the disaster relief, which is the Grok Tempest, but the Dread Serpent comes to just shake things up yet again, and Unbelievable finds 1 kill in the chaos, despite bugzy returning the fire back onto the Stone Warden.
2 down for Na'Vi right now. Unable to push any further forwards. Fisheko is looking for the damage in the backline here. Trying to clean up on Barrack. Creative's getting away for the time being. Actually ends up getting the kill. Cybate answers back in response, but an even trade overall. 42 seconds left to go.
And what bugzy's doing is leveraging his loadout, which is really talking about eliminations. When he finds eliminations, he is that much stronger, because that Firebomb has one of the biggest cooldowns in the game. It's 18 seconds. So when you reduce it by 40%, you're actually getting somewhere around 6-7 seconds going on, and you actually, with 1 kill, 2 kills, can get it right back. So he had that in Ice Mines. He's looking for that here. This kill is going to be huge. Watch that cooldown. It goes right back down to 3, and now he's got a Firebomb yet again.
so important for denying space around the objective. Terminus tries to contest. Firebomb goes down, and Faenex is forced out. Oh no! Spunkki though finds bugzy straight in the doorway. Beautiful positioning of through time and space, and that'll start off this push again.
From downtown, he throws the Hail Mary. I know that's an NBA and an NFL reference, so if you're playing Paladins Bingo, I guess that's a bonus point for you. It seems to be Mutu as well, getting some bonus points for hitting so many shock pulses and putting Faenex in a great spot. And that healer, Spunkki, keeping him nice and healthy, although the crossfire gets hit, and bugzy turns on the heat.
Trying to look for Spunkki, looking for the damage in the backline. Thiel will clean that one up, and Mutu is actually there on Grok as well, pushing further and further forwards. Another kill for bugzy. Gerrah about to go down, even trade so far, 2-2, but Faenex is swinging away with Terminus on the front line, looking for the damage. Overtime is here. Fisheko is back in the fragging, finds 2 in a row. Can they get the third? No, the Poppy Bomb displacement is perfect, and FNATIC defends successfully.
Wow, great small play there to just hit him off of the point before the overtime could really start to contest. That's when your biggest window to kind of get that last-ditch quick defense can come through. And taking advantage of that Poppy Bomb was incredibly... It was just efficient by Fisheko. He didn't have to waste time and even leave it to chance for FNATIC not to defend there. So they'll head into this game now, tied up 1-1.
So we're pushing forward to an interesting point again. Now, Na'Vi have the ability to get onto the objective and probably for another round or so before Cauterize 3 comes out for bugzy, Fisheko, and Cybate to really just sustain through a lot of this. Once Thiel also gets that bulldozer to a higher rank as well, Mutu's totem will be less and less viable. Kratos' turrets will burn down a lot faster here. But Na'Vi can probably just run straight there and start contesting as they did do initially, and you can see Inara moving into that position. What I'm curious about is whether Barak and Terminus might look to engage together here. Use that accelerator field and send the gas metal straight to the backline, but Fisheko tries to engage towards Spunkki again, turns that tide around, goes for Faenex. This should be a kill, but Reanimate is here.
Will he go for it? Once more he rises, and once more will he fall? Gerrah found that first one onto Faenex, but Faenex finds one onto Cybate, and now Fisheko goes down thanks to creatives. It's going to be an immortal onto the objective. Bugzy again gets stunned out. There's no CC immunity in that kit. In fact, very low mobility as well. You could say none, and you could say none for FNATIC on the objective right now, and none even on the battlefield. They all get wiped out by Na'Vi.
Na'Vi looking to push forwards now, going for some zone. They've taken the initial fight, 81% and rising, and no real way for FNATIC to get back in. Again, we talked about it just being too early in the game for that Cauterize to be online. That's just an easy capture. Unbelievable might die, but actually ends up staying alive here, and my goodness.
Wow.
Na'Vi are just doing so well at keeping everybody sustained up.
Well, that's the thing. The win aspect for this and what FNATIC are looking for is this bugzy firebomb to control the juice to Gala. If that doesn't work, if bugzy goes down like he did earlier, it changes their entire efficacy of the plan. As we see a Dread Serpent, a Crossfire come into play, and Faenex with that Hax keeps on swinging away, and Unbelievable just powers through FNATIC's lineup into the back line onto bugzy.
And out all around the corner. The firebomb did go out. Bugzy had that on the ground, but Unbelievable was able to contest it thanks to healing totem from Mutu there as well. Nice use of impasse to block off some incoming damage, and Unbelievable's just fragging out here, not going down too low. Creative's able to retreat to that team as well, and again, healing totem should be ready, should be able to sustain up without any difficulty.
Faenex looks so good on this Terminus. He's one of the front lines that I said is starting to get himself in that conversation of the best in the business in Europe. I know Thiel's going to contest me there, and a lot of people are going to say, well, he's young. He has proven himself here in this tournament, though. And with this mastery of a new champion, that just shows promise to me. Very, very early, very, very efficient as Fisheko and Bugzy's Firebomb finally take him down.
That's why the Firebomb is important right now. We know that Firebomb can be maneuvered around. You know, you can step out of the radius and you won't keep on burning. But very importantly, when Terminus is channeling Power Siphon, if you can have a Bomb King force that out of them, then that you're very much slowed and you can't really push further and further forwards. But Cybate overextends, gets picked off by Mutu on the Grok here, looking to keep their team alive now as Healing Totem is going to come off cooldown in 8 seconds. We could see Na'Vi push forwards for a conversion here with relative ease.
Mutu on a 7th streak. Go, Grok, go. Grok Speed Racers here potentially as the Dread Serpent comes out and tries to put a pause on the aggression. Natus Vincere still looking to push and make a 2-0. Bugzy will be the first start, but gets stunned out by Gerrah, keeping his buddy alive. And oh boy, the captain, what great play, because Bugzy does make it out of that, and Cybate turns the kill around, and he finds a double.
Now back to the objective, throws down the Firebomb, tries to find the triple, but Faenex is stolen away by Gerrah. Firebomb's still doing a good amount of work, and FNATIC have been able to hold with 20 seconds left on the clock, pushing out to zone. As long as FNATIC don't let anybody to the payload, they should be able to hold with ease.
Do you think they push for this?
I think that they have have to. I mean, there's already the support down. You've got Inara who's dismounted, who can't walk through. Terminus can't close the gap. I'd be a little concerned about Barrett with their accelerator field. It could be difficult.
I think they're going back to it, Vox. I think they're trying to touch it. They just lost Fisheko. Can he touched? That's important. Now the Stigala are there. I think a Shadowfall might get him there as well. The contest, it's not enough, and now Gerrah is completely exposed. Dread Serpent is not available, but they used all their ultimates to try to defend here. King Bomb is the only thing, plus Immortal, and those two have to be used perfectly to get the value. Reanimate is here. Is he going to make the call?
No. Nobody left.
Save it.
Nobody left close enough, I think, at that point to contest. So whilst Reanimate might have brought him back in time, you've got no follow-up. The rest of the zoning can come through, and Firebomb's going to cook you whilst you are reanimating, so you need to be careful. But look at Faenex's positioning here as they dance around. He's able to land some chip damage onto Fisheko, finish them off with a Calamity Blast, catches a bit of incoming damage and a Fireball from Thiel as well. Just the little bits of min-maxing that come through. Shadowfall to traverse the elevation of this map on Bright Marsh as well. Faenex has really taken the champion mastery of Terminus in their stride and is demonstrating how to play them to the highest level.
Now, can I see his loadout if possible? Because Strength of Stone, for a guy running Strength of Stone, kind of not switching it, and the It Falls, which I like. It's going to help a little bit against the Inara's Warder's Field, and you're also looking at a potential Ripened Gourd come through from Gerrah, and that comboed with a Firebomb could be disgusting. But the Strength of Stone, he's using it very willingly. He's throwing those Calamity Blasts out.
He's saving them in the tank, which is quite surprising, but I think it's a case of you use it or you lose it. And Faenex is looking for the damage potential, knows that when the engagement comes through, look at this, that should be all Calamity Blast charges coming online thanks to the crossfire damage from bugzy pelted into it, and now will be able to sustain on the front of the fight quite easily. Big King Bomb comes through, mitigated though CC immunity from the totem. This is bad news for FNATIC.
But this is what we call great news for Natus Vincere, because they've still got the reanimate, and Terminus is fighting in the middle. And if you want to go ahead and kill this guy, you're going to have to stand somewhere else, because that's just going to take you down. Walled off, and he's forcing bugzy in a bad spot. Terminus decides to fight on the Firebomb. Says, how much fire you really got in that tank? I'll take it. Stone beats fire every day.
Rock beats paper. Fire is somewhere.
It's a new rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors, fire. Spock.
Stone.
Somewhere in there, folks. But on the objective now, overtime is ticking. Natus Vincere looking to take this one through. Out comes through time and space. Creatives is able to frag out Fisheko, and they capture for the third time in a row. FNATIC have got to find a way to make this defense happen again to have the chance to break the point one final time.
And this is a strategy that is Virtus Pro. This is actually from Mouse Sports to Virtus Pro, and I think ending up being to Natus Vincere, because the Barrack is not some tank we see in this meta right now. But Virtus Pro really being able to kind of showcase the power of a triple tank Barrack at times, and Mouse Sports really able to show them that. Creatives comes through on this Barrack and is actually making a big difference and putting FNATIC into a zero possibility of winning unless Tyra overperforms. And that's a very hard task to ask of bugzy. If anyone could do it, he can.
bugzy has been performing incredibly so far. Firebomb goes down, bugzy gets a pocket heal. Faenex trying to retreat, but oh no, Inara is there to cut off their escape. We got 1 minute and 42 left in the clock. Gerrah is about to fall on Maldamba as well. Can anybody hold here, as Buck Wild is the only thing that is up and the only ultimate available? Thiel can contest momentarily, but Faenex is already camping the base here.
Is that dodge really, really worth it? Because you don't have your dash now, and you can't get out of this. I don't know. He avoids the Shatterfall. Yes, the contest was there. That was part of the intention. But he could have walked, maybe with the slow. Either way, damned if you do, damned if you don't. 10 streak for Unbelievable. It's a tough call FNATIC have to make as they seem to be falling. bugzy 90% on the ultimate, but I don't know if he's going to be able to stop it here. It looks like a Na'Vi secure and a Na'Vi win.
Mutu with 2 to close. One more swing from the Masquerax. Rips through creatives, through time and space into Immortal, though, and the point hold is still coming through. But again, they just bat him down. Double kill to Faenex to close. Nobody can contest, and Na'Vi pick up game number 2.
Faenex is yelling. He's happy.
He's swinging.
And you know what? This is a guy who's newer on the scene. Not obviously a Paladins, he's an experienced player, but in terms of the PPL, in terms of the high-level games with Gerrahs, with bugzys and Thiels, and those guys in this one, Unbelievable as well, spunkki, he's making a name for himself right now. He wants the world who is watching here at this Paladins World Championship Qualifiers to remember the name. That's Faenex, and you know what? It's not just his Ruckus you have to worry about.
Terminus as well now we have often seen other picks coming out of Faenex. He's come a long way from the one-trick Cassie, which was actually a self, I think.
That's right.
It was a self-confession from back in the day when we asked players like, okay, you've joined the PPL, we wanted to find out some information about you, tell you about ourselves so we can get these player bios up and running. And Faenex has I was completely a one-trick Cassie. I was forced to diversify to become relevant with the competitive scene. And how much further can you get away from a damage main to now a frontline monster playing Terminus in this game? 15, 6, and 11 was their slash line with some incredible plays.
He's still doing a lot of damage, whether you put him on Cassie or not. And he's playing it very aggressively. You can tell. Thiel as well knows a lot of damage champions. You can tell these guys have a background in being aggressive and going for kills, because Faenex, a lot of times we saw him solo Bomb King. Again, this is a great map for that, and also is why I question FNATIC going to the Tyra again and again, but less that, because I think the Tyra is good against Terminus and Inara. That makes sense to me. It's just giving Terminus and Inara to Navi. I've seen this has never worked out, in my opinion.
Yeah, and even if you do have a strategy to break up the Sagala on the objective, the problem with Firebomb is always that you can walk away from Firebomb. Firebomb does a lot of damage. It's great against the Terminus and Power Siphon, but if Terminus goes, let me just stand a foot to the left, and then he's safe and cold and ice cold, and Inara sitting there in their sort of Ice Walker skin is pretty safe as well, and it's just like, I'm not getting the Firebomb usage. It's not quite as effective as I would have liked to see. And FNATIC were preaching earlier. We talked to Fisheko, and he said, well, you know, we've got this Drogoz with Fuselad. It's very good against taking out tanky frontline compositions. Didn't see it used. Fisheko was put on the Bomb King, but, you know, I'm wondering if bugzy would have been better utilized on the Drogoz instead.
Double Blaster. It's something that China's willing to do. And
it's something that worked very well against China.
And it's something that I think, you know, we forget is a thing. A lot of people say, you get Bomb King, or you get Drogoz. And then the DreamHack Valencia, that all changed. Is it going to change again at Worlds? Will people start to see this? Will they listen to anything we say? You never know. They do their own thing. Probably not. I
didn't listen to you when you talked about Bulk Up Buck.
I know you did.
And I regret everything.
And I'm telling you, man, this thing is crazy. And, you know, at the end of the day, too, there's a lot of cool combinations that we just don't know. You can't say that one person dropped the ball. It's really that one person searched through and found a needle in a haystack, because there are so many interactions in Paladins that you just don't know how they work, especially at a competitive level. You're never going to be able to find them unless sometimes you get a little lucky.
Maybe you get a little lucky, or you just brute force it out and you test some different combinations, and then you try them out in a competitive setting. And so far, so good for Navi. They've recognized that going back to sometimes the old strategies of triple frontline can and does indeed work. It's up to FNATIC on the map pick of their choice now, which is Stonekeep with the first pick in this draft to really try and pull something out of the bag. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Makoa left open here, so at least they can get maybe the Terminus for themselves this time.
Yeah, I think they're going to go back. I don't think they'll ban Makoa, but I don't think they'll ban Terminus or Inara. I think Navi are going to ban Makoa still, so I don't think it'll be open. I think, oh, wow, so they will. They'll go directly against what I thought.
Maybe because the prioritization, therefore, is maybe towards more the Terminus. Navi, in response, could look to take that away. They could look to even take something completely different out of the field. Bomb King, again, a contender now in the situation now that Makoa is gone, but also so is Buck, and a lot of different options for us. At this point, predicting the draft coming out of these two teams is becoming more of a wildcard situation. It's a flavor pick or a flavor ban rather than a, do we think this will work? Do we think this will win?
And I mean, at this point, too, you have to say, if I ban Bomb King, I give them Term or Inara, right? And, of course, I get mine back, but maybe I don't have, I don't know what I want in terms of a strong secondary duo to say I'm leading the draft now. And that's why I think they banned the Torvald. They say this doesn't work well with the Buck. You get first pick Terminus, but we'll get Inara and Bomb King. So instead, they're going to first pick Bomb King and give Inara and Terminus again to Navi if they want it. And if you're Navi, I think you take it. And again, call their bluff.
I want to see FNATIC draft a Willow here, in all honesty.
Well, we might as well see a Tyra, Willow, but I mean, at this point, FNATIC are doing the same thing.
It could be a Tyra again. I don't think the Navi would look for a triple frontline on this specific map unless they go and draft the Ruckus, which is why I actually want to see FNATIC start to prioritize that, because the Ruckus would be the triple frontline that could potentially look to work here because they've got mobility, they've got some damage, and they can flank around the objective. FNATIC backing themselves into a corner almost.
I think the change to Willow really hurt her, man.
I
largely, you know, there's not a lot of balance decisions where I kind of scratch my head at, because I think the team does a great job. But that one to me felt kind of unnecessary, especially if just looking at this high level. You got to say there's got to be something else that's being thought about there, because that's what she brought to the table, that little flutter, that air, that ability to be in the ultimate and be powerful at that moment. And of course, the 100% cauterize. That's the unique part. It's now just cauterize 3, and that, with so much healing on the table, with the rejuvenates, with the extra cards, we can rebuild him. You still can find value, even if it's 90%. And you throw up a shield, I mean, at the end of the day, it's very, very difficult. Going from some to 0 is a lot more effective, I think.
It is what it is, but FNATIC still end up taking the Ruckus. Navi, in response, they take Grok Maldamba, so getting their pocket heal online, and Fnatic need a solution. Tyra hasn't worked for them 2 games in a row. Will it be the tried and tested, or will it end up being a Tyrable pick as we head further and further forwards? There are a few different options here again, but a solo Ruckus into Inara and Terminus doesn't feel like a comfortable situation. But then again, look towards the damage of Fnatic right now. If they take maybe the Fernando again, maybe they go for a Barrack themselves, which you probably don't want to do into a Grok because the ease of accessibility for Shock Pulse deployable bounces. Are they going to have enough damage from just the Buck, just the Bomb King to be able to break up this Stone duo, which will control space around the objective?
I see the thing, too, is I don't think they are, unless they do something
Drogo's
wacky here.
Still the Fernando.
I just don't expect them to do something wacky. That's not the way Fnatic have been playing for me. I don't see them drafting that way. And I think Na'Vi here get the better end of the draft no matter what they take here.
Really doesn't matter at this point in time. They've got direct damage. They can go for more with maybe the Sha Lim. They could look for a Drogo's here. Something less susceptible to Buck, potentially. You've got to remember that there is a Bomb King on the table, and now without triple frontline, a lot of just tankiness and durability in the way of the Bomb King. The Bomb King will have a bit of an easier time at dueling and 1v1ing the squishier damage champions, but wondering what Na'Vi are going to go for.
Yeah, and I think the thing they're going to probably do is assume that this Ruckus has high ground control, and that's going to be a lot of the key to success, as well as this Buck and Bomb King kind of able to get to that 3rd tier of the Cathedral faster. But I think they send Terminus up there as well, and I think they send Inara on the point, and then force Fnatic to say, okay, well, we'll leave Fernando on the point against Inara, and that's a losing battle. And Ruckus as well, that's not even a battle. She wins that one easily. So what I'm looking for in this game is to see how Fnatic think they're going to pull this off and what they're actually looking for, Box.
Victory somewhere. For me, personally, it comes down to you got to deal with the backline first. You take down Shaolin, you look for some damage towards Maldamba, you remove the supplementary picks to Na'Vi, and then you can tackle their core around the objective. Without doing that first, Fnatic will be in a lot of trouble. The problem is Na'Vi recognize this, they'll expect it, they'll have strategies developed to protect for it. I think Terminus positioning in the Cathedral is actually a really big part of that.
I agree. I think Terminus is going to be a big game changer. He can, Faenex, if he keeps playing really well, it's going to be a tough one for Fnatic. But I mean, they have put themselves in spots where they have just 2 champions in Buck and Bomb King, the B brothers, the bangers right now who have been dominating this LAN. Who can go off? Both Fisheko and Saibei could have incredible games. A pentakill, there's no counterplay for that.
No, certainly not, unless you miss out on capping the objective, which was the...
Unless you don't have the cameraman on him during it. That's a counter to a penta right there.
Thank goodness for replays, that's all I'm saying. But right now, looking for it, pretty standard legendary picks throughout the duration. Once again, it's Creatives on Grok this time around, running the Totemic Ward for the extra healing throughput. Look at the positioning now of Fnatic. I'd like to see Fnatic not go right side here, recognizing that Terminus may be there, going left side instead, potentially looking for it, but they're going for a fire, maybe a fireball to start things off, a Grumpy Bomb. There's the Terminus, straight into the backline. Big disruptive slow, and Fisheko is first blood already.
That's exactly what I anticipated Na'Vi to do, going up to that balcony with Terminus, sending Inara on the objective. Na'Vi have 33%, 39, 42. Fnatic crumbling away. Faenex continuing to dominate on this Terminus. Now, Fnatic, again, haven't even gotten going, so there's still a lot to say in this fight. And bugzy holding the left side down on this Ruckus pick, that we often see, is opening some room for Saibei to flank.
Saibei, well, tries to get some damage done, but look at this. The Grok is still actually grouped up in the top of this fight, is able to place down a healing totem to pocket up a Mutu. Mutu's trying to get damage on the Saibei. Nice Impaler, stays alive for the time being. It's close though. Thiel's already found a double kill and takes down both of the Sagala, and this could be the turnaround point for Fnatic.
But 93%, 93. If they don't get a full wipe here, it is going to look good for Na'Vi going forward, but they do. They get that full wipe.
Now they need the stagger as well. Unbelievable could be scattered out by Fisheko. Here we go. Dismounted. Huge right here. This is going to buy a lot of time for Fnatic, and they need to hold everybody at bay. If somebody can bypass this dismount, they might be able to take it into overtime. Faenex has been spotted. Shadowfall can now convert the distance here, potentially, but it's 96 and 99. Will anybody get there in time?
Oh, Mutu actually goes in as well. If he finds a kill on the side here, that could be big, but Saib returns it, and that's what we're saying. Buck, Bomb King, they could go off, and Fisheko's on a 2 streak. Saib 8. He must be on a 3 or 4 streak right now. Hasn't quite lit up, but he has stayed alive and found many kills as he now finds spunkki, and that is 5 for man right there.
Little by little, Natus Vincere, they just can't stand the heat on the objective, and Fnatic do come out for the first time with an objective capture in game number 3, and they get themselves on the board.
What Fnatic did in that first fight was actually really cool. I mean, I saw the obvious play, right, that Na'Vi were going to make, and so did FNATIC. And they actually say, we are going to bait you into committing onto the upper cathedral, walking past that walkway, and we're going to send Saibate all the way around you guys to deal with the Shaolin, who you've left in the back line to keep firing on it. It ends up actually working, and they snowball off it by pincering them into the cathedral as the seismic crash hits one on the Saibate.
And there's the Dread Serpent follow-up. Faenex engaging with the Massacre Axe, dunks down 1-1, gets the kill, can't quite finish up a kill on the Fisheko following that though. But here we go with Tempest looking to engage. Unbelievable takes out Thiel. Bugzy uses Hexafire across the way from the cathedral. Faenex forced back, but no ground lost, and actually ground gained by Na'Vi here as they're starting to push up forwards again.
Fisheko has also been very, very impactful, and the Totemic Ward Grok for Natus Vincere hasn't been exactly what they've looked for yet. I think it was looked for not just the healing throughput, but to really cancel out a lot of these Grumpy Bombs. But you got to remember, even if you cancel that out, the King Bomb still has superiority over the Terminus Shield, which will go down, he will take the damage for that, and with Chain Reaction, most likely die if Fisheko can keep landing him.
You've got to get at least 2 or 3 sticks in there, but as long as the CC is long enough duration, then that should be a relatively easy kill, which is why we often see such a heavy prioritization of resilience specifically from the Terminus to make sure that they can engage. But the payload's about to break the base. It's pushing through the entranceway here towards Na'Vi. Mutu's hanging back very far behind, looking to try and shut down Bugzy. Big Impaler arrow into the wall and planted follow-up.
What's so big about that is he can't even get off the emitter shield. He can't even counter it. I mean, he's got the built-in sustain against that, but fantastic stuff as Mutu finds one. Saibate escorting the payload. One shot onto 2 players, and he backs off with the recovery, and that bulk up buck gets him right back up to 2,600 health.
So far then, Fisheko towards the high ground. Watching, waiting, Saibate there with them. Faenex will block it off. Impaler arrow into a planted combo does not connect. The payload's reaching an impasse with 20 seconds to go, and I'm looking here for FNATIC to maybe start popping ultimates if they want to push this through, but this is a European meta now. We know that they shouldn't do that.
This is totally something that requires, I think, conversation beforehand. You have to understand, what are we doing with our ultimates in these situations? Are we going to push for this? Yes, the seismic crash as well. Jumps up, Saibate, and Creatives finds the kill on the Thiel, and it will be a defense successful. FNATIC not able to push it all the way through, but still showing a lot better in that first round that even I had anticipated with that draft.
I really still don't understand the use of through time and space at the end there. I think it was channeled onto an Inara who was actually mid-channel of Seismic Crash, so holding herself still, but 2 ultimates for 1 from the side of FNATIC. Despite this early pressure from Saibate, going into the next round, Na'Vi hold the ult economy in their hand right now, with only Seismic Crash being used, and this is pretty big because Dread Serpent into Tempest will allow a full heal of Unbelievable or Faenex. FNATIC have no way to mitigate some of the incoming pressure. They're going to have to rely to me on positioning play once again, so expect Saibate to be looking for a flank here, and expect Natus Vincere to have really responded to that as well.
You know, Mutu doesn't have a kill yet in this game, and that's something he needs to find early. He just misses the timing. Look at that. Actually, FNATIC know what he wants. They jump over it with their mounts, and I don't think he would have hit him even if the timing was perfect there. So nice play, nice awareness from FNATIC. I'll have to take that into my games as the big guns get brought out into this game. Take 1 down, pass it around, and spunkki follows back with 2 for Na'Vi.
Dread Serpent to try and convert onto more of that. Mutu in Heat Haze right now is avoiding Saibate, forces them out just with the fact that the rest of their team is falling, and FNATIC are actually pushed off the objective as Grok surges with power and Na'Vi holds strong.
Faenex could do something here, forcing Thiel down. They have upper balcony control now. Gerrah's firing away with the Shatterstar. 66% for Na'Vi, and again, getting poked out low. However, this Terminus still has the reanimate, and here's the King, here's the big hug. Can they burst him down?
The problem is no, because Creatives gets into Ghostwalk. Actually goes down to Thiel, though. There's the big swing coming through. Saibate can potentially look to engage here, but instead sets out the zone, recognizing that the rest of their team can probably clean up. Faenex gets one, reanimate comes through as well, looking for the damage. Is stuck with Chain Reaction here, and the contest keeps on continuing as Fisheko takes the high ground, and Saibate is able to just about get out of dodge before Planted rolls through.
18% now and slowing down. 24, and it's tied up. 93% for Na'Vi. And just a little bit over a third for FNATIC on the objective. Shields up, arrows flying, rockets in the air as we continue to see who's going to get the better end of round 2. A bulk up buck recovery will actually heal up Saibate and keep him alive, and hasn't that been the story of the day, Vox?
Really big immortal there as well, and so far, yes, Saibate is alive, but Thiel goes down. There's no more contest left on the objective. Overtime is ticking, diving in is Bugzy trying to go through with that, but Unbelievable channel Seismic Crash and shuts down Saibate.
And actually, Gerrah gets baited out as he jukes out the through time in space, and Mutu hits the Heat Haze. The gong goes loud within the arena, and Stone Keep becomes Natus Vincere's playground as they push 2-1 now and look to maybe take down Thiel here as a Shatterfall hit slows him, forces the shield, and actually puts him under a lot of pressure.
This is really funny. Faenex knows that they can swing him at him occasionally to keep him in combat, but actually right now, what you're really seeing is the fact that, and that was a beautiful body block as well, preventing them from getting out of the area, that Faenex could just use that time instead of swinging, instead of keeping themselves slow, could actually get into a really elevated position here and is now right inside of FNATIC's base.
And you saw that gong ring loud throughout the arena, and I think Mutu has been a talking point this round for me. He started out 0-2 in terms of his KDA, and he has significantly improved. He is on a 4 streak now. Not quite sure how many he's picked up yet. But if he continues this and Faenex continues this godlike Terminus play, well, the Undying won't just be a nice nickname. It'll be the truth in terms of Natus Vincere and their competition levels against FNATIC.
Faenex is trying to find the way through then. Spunkki could kick things off here big with a Dread Summon. The Payload's about to roll through them, and it's only Gerrah contesting. Shut down by Mutu. In dives Buck, in dives everybody, but will it be enough? Na'Vi, they have all the ultimates. Faenex is able to reanimate potentially, and it will be triggered here. 4,000 damage ripping through for the triple kill push. Successful!
And Faenex stands up, pats the chest, rubs the belly, getting ready for Christmas, getting ready for the holidays. He's going to fill that up tonight. And he says, no, Vivian. Okay.
Well, maybe so. I mean, we're playing on OB62 here, so no Vivian in the realm just yet. But look at this replay coming through. Focus on the side bait, is able to swing the Massacre Axe around, getting focused down very rapidly. 1 kill to start things off, but then immediately channels as soon as bugzy locks themselves in place with Hexafire. 4 overall. That's Na'Vi with a very, very dominating play. Unofficial Quadra comes through, and that's actually swinging Terminus. Look at the damage dealt charts there. 62,000 after 16,000 gained from that massive eruption.
Yeah, Terminus's massive eruption is not something you want to see. The daytime map of Stonekeeper, the nighttime of Serpent Beach as well. 14 streak for this incredible player, Faenex, who has just shown up in such a marvelous way here at the PBO Fall Land, and of course the Paladins World Championship Qualifiers. He continues to dominate and use the Calamity Blast for kills immediately into the Shatterfall, forces Side-Bait back. And look at this pocket healing by Spunkki, helping him to stay alive.
It's just little bits of min-maxing as well that keep on coming through as FNATIC do start to take control of the objective. It's the fact that he'll throw up Power Siphon for just a second, block some incoming damage, tap it, receive some healing, and then get back to the fight and keep on dealing damage as well.
And if you're by yourself in a normal game, tapping it is not really that efficient. However, when you have a healer to supplement your lack of defense and shielding with an increase in healing, it actually is the most efficient because you're saving it for enemies' cooldowns. FNATIC, 93% on the objective now, and a Shatterfall. Faenex finds another double kill.
Looking for more potentially. Side-Bait runs away. Faenex with the Power Siphon there just to prevent any chance clips from Buck coming through. Distracts. Doesn't save Mutu in enough time, but it's 90%, 93 even up now. Na'Vi are going for it. Fisheko is here to contest, but oh my goodness, the Calamity Blast from downtown. The Shadowfall Slam as well. Double kill again for Faenex.
He's getting healed up, but he's not going to stay alive on that one. bugzy finds a kill, and through time and space does help to clear it out, but again, Gerrah misses the mark on that ultimate and can't take down Unbelievable, and they've dealt this whole time with one Stigala, but at this point, they can't deal with the other one, and that's why you don't give Terminus and a to a team of Na'Vi's caliber.
99% ticks over. There's the capture rolling through just to finish it all off, and oh my goodness, look at the man himself. Faenex right there at the end. That's the storyline for this game, it's all about Terminus.
And maybe you don't need to give Terminus and Inara to Na'Vi and really ward that away. Maybe you just can't give Faenex Terminus.
Yeah, at this point, honestly, if you force Faenex away from Ruckus, away from Terminus, then maybe on the Fernando, maybe on a different pocket pick. But look at what they're able to do. 69,000 damage just falling behind Grok and Creatives as well. 16 kills on a Terminus. This is the melee champion that we were worried about going, oh, they won't be able to close the distance to the enemies. They'll be held at range. Don't bring a knife to a gunfight, but who cares about a knife when you got a Massacre Axe?
I mean, he's gone to the Pretty School that I think Pretty Hair went to as well. Faenex graduated with a PhD, a master's, bachelor's degree, but at this point, we might have to call him Pretty Axe because he's pretty damn successful with this guy.
Very pretty as well. I love the crystals. Amethyst, I think.
I mean, and even Terminus really has pretty hair.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of synergy between...
Bit of a bandana action going on there as well.
Yeah, a lot of synergy here between these two good-looking fellas, and Looking even better here in game. The Shatterfall, probably the most satisfying experience in Paladins. I've almost said to watch. And just the willingness to use his Calamity Blast, despite heavily investing his loadout into being a defensive mechanic, shows the comfortable, I think, kind of practice that he's put in to make this champion a go-to pick in these high-pressure situations.
And I feel like that loadout was really augmenting the clutch situations when Terminus is holding up their power siphon for a long period of time, when they're maybe 1v3, 1v4, having to hold down the fort for a little while. That's when the damage reduction comes into play, but when the rest of the team is behind you, you're receiving enough healing throughput to not really need to mitigate that much damage, then you can just go for, well, damage yourself. You can throw out that extra 250, which did secure a couple of kills. You can use your skill rotation more freely, and worry maybe less so about just holding something in the tank.
Yeah.
Use it or lose it, and well, it's not an ultimate, so there's no excuse.
I mean, I love that he has it, but he actually is kind of making me think that there might be a better card in there for him.
Maybe something else.
It waits might be better for him, because if he just throws that up there, obviously, the way I think these pros, it waits is not going to work, because you hardly ever just hold it down for the duration just to get those 4 back. But on some downtime, when you've won the point, you're waiting for them to respawn, having those Calamity Blasts to work with is valuable. I'd actually like to see him get some work in the card that I really enjoy for Terminus, is when you get an elimination with that Calamity Blast, which you actually saw, you get refunded charges. And that could be really impactful. It actually gives you an extra one off the base you have. So that's immediately 1 kill with the 250. You've got 500 left in your hand, ready to aggress either onto another tank or another damage dealer.
Very potentially useful, but the one thing that I think is very important for Fnatic moving forwards now, they're down 3 games. Na'Vi about to take the highest seeding moving into the bracket for the HRX Paladins World Championship. Fnatic have one more opportunity to really pull themselves back into it on the map of their choosing of Frog Isle. They've been beaten out 3 times. They've got to come back into this. Terminus ban, Terminus pick, something, strip it away from Faenex.
I mean, it's what we saw with Na'Vi and Purity.
Yeah.
It was the ability to take both Stigala on every map and dominate. And there was a drafting issue that allowed Na'Vi to be better than their competitors. And that's happened all day today. 6 games in a row, they've been able to get Terminus and Inara, or Terminus and the other team didn't have Inara. If they even the playing field here, I think there is an opportunity for Fnatic to come back and make this a hell of a set. But I need to see 1 Stone Warden and one Immortal and 1 Immortal, or no Immortals at all. Or the Immortal on the side of Fnatic. That has to happen if they want to get back.
They need something like that. They can't afford to keep on giving this all up. They've got to have some strength of stone in there. Got to have the columns holding everything up, and so
hey,
far,
you're using all your cards here.
I really am. I'm digging deep into the loadouts right now.
You sure are. Might be burying yourself in a grave, though.
Potentially. I need the. I feel like I need all the cue cards when Gabriella brought them to the caster, and there was just this big stack in here. I'm like, oh, what's the card? I'm go through them all real fast and find them in a book. But so far, at least Thiel is all smiles for Fnatic. Look at him. He's quite happy here still. They recognize they have another opportunity to keep themselves in the set, and you've got to be kind of on this elation as well. You have qualified so far for HRX. You're going to be going through. You've got your bow tie and your waistcoat on as well. You're in a good position overall. So, you know what? Maybe there's still an opportunity here.
I mean, he's smiling, right? But it's not that same smile he had at the beginning. It's not the bicep flex he was showing. I think at this point, Fnatic are not happy. Yes, they won. They're qualified. But you do not want to lose 4-0 to Na'Vi at this point. You're a really easy competitor.
First seed.
And be the weakest in your... I mean, that's not something that you're looking for, right? So at this point, I know that they are turning it down. And with Terminus, Fnatic finally do what everyone who's watching this game is wanting them to do.
And the big thing about this as well is that I was talking a little bit to Fisheko during the interview of how do you feel going up against Na'Vi, and they're talking about, well, we've got to worry about the Bomb King, and maybe they want that for themselves. What if that goes to Mutu? And goes, oh, I wouldn't worry too much about Mutu or Kratos on Bomb King. They're not as good as we are here. So now Fnatic picking Buck and Grover. They're getting big tanky bodies online. They're getting some objective line of sight lock off. They're getting control. How did Na'Vi respond?
And I still like what Na'Vi do, right? I mean, Inara and Bomb King is a very good trade, but now since you value Buck and Grover so much in EU, and this meta really supports it, I think Fnatic are looking excellent here. Na'Vi get a good draft, sure, but Fnatic get a good draft too. And this game, as long as they continue this pace, round it out, I'd expect probably a Maldamba to combo with this Terminus, and that's Gerrah's more...
Yeah, I'd like to see the Maldamba, but I'd also like to see the Drogos. I think that FNATIC, whilst, you know, solo frontline is a difficult thing for them to pull off right here, Ruckus has a very good shutdown potential onto Inara, or excuse me, Drogus has a good shutdown potential onto Inara and Ruckus. There's nobody who can really target out a Drogos in the air in Navi's composition so far, unless they want to maybe strip away from having a main support and pick up the Genos as well. So here it is. The Drogos comes through looking for maybe the Fusillade damage to really block off the opponents from the objective. And now you've not only got the big axes swinging down here where you've got to avoid them and you can maybe predict and time around them because they're going to hit you for 700, 800 from across the map. But also if you hit a rocket as well, that's 1100. That will KO pretty much the Genos or the Bomb King if they have been poked down a little bit and they step into a line of sight where they shouldn't be.
Now I got a question. Are we seeing bugzy's Grover here? Or are we seeing bugzy's Drogos?
I think we've got to see...
It's down to the wire.
I think we've got to see bugzy's Grover here. I think we'll see Cybate on Buck again, Drogos to Fisheko, bugzy with Grove. That's been the real pick direction which bugzy has gone when Grove has been available. And we saw what they did on Fish Market with that yesterday. But now looking towards Navi as well. Probably looking towards... maybe Mutu's Bomb King here, which is exactly what FNATIC weren't worried about.
No, they weren't at all.
Could be creatives, but I haven't seen... Well, Mutu has been playing Grok for this set, actually.
I think it could go either way. I think that's the cool thing about those two. I also think
flexibility.
I think FNATIC have the flexibility to put bugzy on Drogos if they want, but I wouldn't want to see it because I think that would mean bugzy would have to say, I'm taking it away. And that means I don't have confidence in how we're playing. And that means your team may feel that morale kind of start to lessen. And it's going to be Fisheko on the Drogos. I think this is a good call for them. And he's running Combustible to start here. I actually really like that pick if he's able to make it work, despite going into the Totemic Ward.
So look at what the strategy is with itemization as well, and this is why potentially we could see Combustible work. You know that Morale Boost and Combustible allows Drogos to charge their ultimate very quickly, and against an Inara, there's no better way to remove her from play by just going one-shot wonder, Dragon Punch comes through. Even if you trade, that'll allow Terminus to get control of the objective because Faenex can't really contest it by themselves.
It's great against Faenex. You're right, it's great against Faenex too, I think, because the emitter shield is a big bait and it allows him to stay alive a lot, get around corners, but not with the Dragon Punch, one-hit KO. That's what Drogos brings to the realm. Already at 11%. I would expect to see Drogos hit his ultimate mark as long as Fisheko can stay protected much faster than anyone else here in this game, and that may come to play dividends for Paladins here in this FNATIC squad.
Isn't able to land the kill into Creatives playing the Bomb King though, as they do manage to Poppy Bomb to safety, but in goes Buck looking for the kill. No response in enough time, and Cybate picks up first blood. 2 kills in a quick succession. Faenex takes down Cybate, but already FNATIC are in control.
And already FNATIC looks so much better. They look so much more complete as a roster. They get good picks, and they're able to do this. And Navi now isolated on the point. Unbelievable. Doesn't have another Terminus to keep this fight going, and it's a full wipe for FNATIC.
Now the zone game comes to play. spunkki still on the mount right there, has just dismounted themselves, and you can see that Thiel has stepped up to the high ground, leaving behind the Maldamba, just ensuring that they can really keep on contesting, as FNATIC have gained 78%, but now the disengage comes through. Thiel re-engages, big slam down though from Shadowfall, slows everybody around, and it's only Inara contesting, but Dragon Punch is already at 80%.
That's important. Unbelievable, still doing a great job on this tank, and you cannot count him out. And Faenex, of course, still alive, although very low. He's in the emitter, and he's going to get a salvo to the face, and that might just help Cybate and Gerrah to find the kill. Joining Gerrah from downtown, and Thiel as well finds one. Mutu left alone to his own devices, and Cybate puts him back in his room. FNATIC turn the tables. In fact, they flip it over, and Natus Vincere on the back foot for once.
That's just such a rewarding kill as well, being able to smack somebody out of the air as service. I wish we had Ragdoll on a game where we could send them maybe all the way to Serpent Beach, but so far, but oh my goodness. Shooting stars. Should be a skin for Genos, maybe.
I think that might work out fine as well.
Maybe an emote coming in there, just the perpetual spin, but FNATIC have certainly spun this out on its head right. They're looking good here. They're trying to push further forward. Seismic Crash might stop them in their tracks, though.
It's good that they got Cybate, too, because he was about to bulk up. And you know when he slams his fist together, he gets real, real strong. Thiel, I'll survive him quite a bit, but I think they're starting to realize this is a stall. But I think I love how Thiel's doing it, and they have to kill him quickly.
Oh, that would have been an amazing reanimate.
It would have been, but I think they would have...
Impasse.
Yeah, Impasse. That's the big key for that, and I think that's why the Inara is a really good pick against that Terminus, and that's why they're so good against one another. They have both these strengths and weaknesses when that wall is down. but a great Void Grip as well. A great counter to Buck. I think Navi's showing us there.
It's a really good combo, especially with the Bomb King, because as soon as Buck gets Void Gripped 1, 2, 3, it doesn't matter if you can heal for 1600 health across 1 second with recovery and bulk up. You're taking far too much damage. You're taking maybe 37,000 or 37,000 damage there.
37 million, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Numbers are hard. Don't do math on the fly. 3,700 damage from something like the 3 sticky bombs with the chain reaction legendary here, which Creatives has been running masterfully through the duration of this set.
And you might see the Masterful actually come into play there as one Fire Spit hits and another one starts to go.
And another.
And another and another. And a sister and a brother. Try to ride out Kapu was a DC undercover. And here's the Dragon Punch. Will he find another lover with the Fire Spit? Fire coming. Oh, they try to take the cover, but the Dragon won't fire. He won't stop with the spit. And here he goes, man. Unbelievable.
Hexafire baited, though, as well from that Dragon Punch.
Called
looking
off.
to convert on more of this. Cybait's already found one. Big Fire Spit around the corner sends Mutu straight into danger. Ghost Walk procced. Buck goes into the backline, but Fisheko is raining down the damage, and bugzy gets one from downtown. This could be FNATIC's push if they can get the cart rolling past Inara.
It's not raining men, it's raining fire from the skies. And this is not a Song of Fire and Ice. The ice part got cut out, did make the cut. The EP went just with the fire part. And FNATIC and this combustible Drogos, and of course, this Stagala Terminus finally on their side and in the hands of Thiel are looking just as dangerous, and Na'Vi looking a shade of themselves now.
And who's going to contest right now? It's got to be the Ruckus going in. Then Inara gets in as well. But the totem already placed by Mutu on the high ground means that isn't available to contest the objective. Bugzy can try and engage here. Thiel getting brought lower and lower. Reanimator's ready. On top of the payload cart. Look at the positioning. No way for Unbe to dodge it.
And I love the use of the reanimate there. He knew the wall was not up, and EU conservative on their ultimate still says, who cares? I want to win. I want to get this set going. I don't want to lose 4-0. I'm not saving nothing. And I think this is the right play by FNATIC. Good draft turns into a good round. And now they might be looking to win here if they can keep this up.
It's just good positioning as well. Thiel recognizes he's got to be focused down, right? If they don't want this contest to run for forever, Thiel has to be taken out. But in the end, positions so the explosive core is on top of the payload, so nobody can avoid it by hiding behind. But goodness me, Bugzy helping the team out with the long-range axes from downtown. Helps clean up here, heals everybody up in the objective, and this was the turnaround point for FNATIC.
Grover's a great champion to pick up in a lot of different lineups, and we see him go in and out, and we see him prioritized by certain teams and then left alone by certain teams, but especially on Frog Isle, he has to be a big part of the conversation. I think this is partly why
It's better, Canessa.
FNATIC won this draft so hard, because he is that kind of self-sustaining damage dealer, despite being in the, the body of a support.
So far, the axes swing for about 700 from this range do allow some initial poke to go around the objective. Faenex is looking to get a flank going on here. Thiel, though, is sitting very, very tanky. Helps shut down Unbelievable. Soaks a big King Bomb, but beautiful Whirlwind to respond.
Yeah, and there's nothing Creatives can do. He has to back off, and Grover continues to fire the axes, and Na'Vi continue to scratch their heads at how they aggress onto this lineup of FNATIC. The chain reaction's a good start. Creatives tasked with a lot, but he doesn't seem able to find really the key to turn here, or the knob to twist to allow FNATIC to just get off this point.
And as you're saying that through time and space
That's
is channeled,
one, though.
Tempest, though, is going to allow potentially the gas pedal to be hit and everybody to re-engage. Gerrah around the corner does survive, though. Now Thiel is putting pressure onto Creatives. Calamity Blast won't clean up the kill. Cybate has taken down Mutu, and Bugzy cleans up as Thiel gets straight back to work. I think that Terminus is actually doing a bit of quarry work here, trying to smack down Inara, and eventually Unbelievable should fall. Easy capture so far unless somebody can contest.
And one of the notable things about this is, gosh, those scaling axes work on Ruckus's personal shields. And they work on Torvald's personal shields as well. So Faenex is really kind of extraordinarily countered out here with the way these axes are flying toward him. And Natus Vincere feeling the brunt of that as Calamity Blast slams into Mutu, finishes him off. FNATIC want to get this done quickly.
And you just can't underestimate the fact that those 4 Calamity Blasts are 250 damage apiece. That's 1,000 blasts in a second. One more swing from an axe following up after that, and that's 1,750 in a row. And there's actually a legendary. Look at, actually, Thiel has a card in his loadout, which allows him, after 4 seconds of channeling their power siphon, to be able to restore 3 of those already. My
waits.
goodness.
Yeah, this is what I like to see. That's a card that I was actually talking about that Faenex might want to switch into, and Thiel was really using it to the best of his ability. I think this is a good look. However, to each his own, and I think you're going to have to say that no matter what loadout you're using, Terminus still brings a ton of value. Wow, this Void Grip really shutting down Cybate. He decides to spray as he falls. My last note to the world. Get wrecked.
Get wrecked is pretty appropriate there, as Cybate does end up going swimming. And honestly, the good thing for at least the Fnatic roster right now is the combustible sends Umbi down. No spray on the way down is that, I mean, there's always a career for graffiti, right? If potentially Fnatic don't make it through in this set any further, but they're looking like they're going to, barreling down the payload push 3-0 right now. 1 minute left on the clock, and they're going further and further towards conversion. Faenex can't even hexify here because Terminus is in his face.
There's nothing to do. I think Navi realized this as well. Unbelievable by himself, and spunkki, yeah, it was a dream, but this dream will not be fulfilled tonight. He sprays, and he throws a trophy, and he knows that, yeah,
they're going to roll it through.
They won this one, and he's clapping for him, too. He says, you learned.
Yeah.
You learned.
You adapted. You picked the Terminus. It turns out that Bomb King, despite the rest of the tournament, was not the answer. Terminus was the answer.
Oh, yeah, and I think, especially for equalizing the talent between these two. You know, you're dealing with two champions that are meant to withstand longer than any other tank in the game besides them. So naturally, you have to make sure that either you get it and the enemy team doesn't, or you have both of them. Otherwise, you are giving them too much of an advantage. I don't think any kind of point fight, realistically, at least in this meta, is meant to be able to burst down Inara and Terminus extremely consistently.
Now, a big question that for me this game at least was Mutu running the Grok again. It worked with the double Stigala compositions. It worked with the triple front line. Didn't feel like it really worked here on Frog Isle, despite G2 being able to do a very good performance with it. And as it so happens, I think that potentially moving forwards, we were lacking a lot of burst potential. There was the Bomb King, but that was it. Nobody to really take down Terminus very, very easily throughout the duration of that game. Maybe a different pick for Mutu might have been more at home, but what do you go into? Bugzy's locking off your Charlene, you can't pick that up. The Drogas has already been taken. You can maybe go for Andro, but again, Bugzy's locking you off wherever you try and move to. It's a situation where I'm wondering if maybe triple frontline might have been a better idea, honestly, and maybe put creatives back towards the barrack that we saw earlier.
I think at this point, Navi are okay to lose a game, and you've earned a loss. That's how well you've been playing. And also, I think at this point, the onus is on Fnatic. They've adjusted. Navi now realize, okay, we can't win with this 3-0, just getting the Terminus and the Inara every single game. We're going to have to do something different in our pick ban phase.
Pip.
We'll see. Desk, what do you think about that?
I don't know. What do we think about that? Starting off with Bitey.
Well, you know, going against this whole entire set, you're looking at a solo tank versus a part of the Rock family. You know, you got the Rock family out there. They're good at healing. They're good at staying alive. And it just was not working. And I mean, no matter what the draft was, it just looked like Navi controlled everything on the field as long as there was either them in possession of Inara or Terminus. It doesn't really matter because Fnatic wasn't picking them.
What do you think in Meta Pusher?
I think, yes, correct. I think a lot of the credit also goes towards the Ruckus and the Grok pick as well. When they're not getting both those big rocks, they're going on the Ruckus for Faenex, and he's making a big impact in every game except for that last Frog Isle one. It was kind of lackluster, but the Grok is also enabling these big tanks to survive on the point for the long time, bringing that CC immunity and the extra healing that he's got.
I really think on that last game, though, what kind of flipped it up is not only having the Inara on their side, but was it the Inara or the Terminus for Fnatic?
Terminus.
So they had the Terminus, but they had the pairing with Grover. And Grover on Frog Isle makes a really big range difference because you're just throwing these long axes all over the place when it's actually a pretty viable sniper map. And because he falls into that DPS and range hitter and a little bit of great support, I think that's what really comes through, making that bigger difference and kind of slowing down the effectiveness of that Grok.
Seemed like on a snowballing map like Frog Isle, when you have just something to close that distance and such, and having the Terminus there being a major key factor for when it comes to just having that hold stay. So what do you think, Meta Pusher?
I think Terminus is great. It forces you to play weird. It forces you to consider whether or not it's worth for me to dump my damage and use my cooldowns on this big tank, because if I do and then he just revives and the rest of the team's still alive, what do? So it forces you to play around him, try to pick the team around him, and then leave him as kind of scraps at the end.
And I think something that also comes through when you have those terminuses is that Grover ult, it basically resets his life, an extra time. He can have that hand up, and you can full heal him up when it expires. Not only that, you've also got his ability to just reset on death. So you've got so many options to just reset your big boy, have that big axe, and just swing and take so much out.
Yeah.
Bitey, do you agree that with the casters saying that Mutu just not being on as comfortable of a pick might have impacted things?
I think it could have been a little bit of a factor there, but you're looking at the matchup where Grok is a little bit on the medium kind of range. And if you can't get into those comfortable spots, especially on Frog Isle, like there's the pit area right next to the point, and you can't really just hold onto the platform area right above there. So he needs to kind of pick and choose where he can be. If you cross through the center, you're going to get Grover axed. But if you stay in the dark in the pit areas, you're going to find yourself a little bit further away from your tank. So there's just not as many super efficient Grok positions for him to capitalize on and let himself shine through.
His stat line, not exactly what you're hoping for in that kind of matchup. And both of you have talked about the way that the solo tank was working, and then we saw even at one point the triple tank going on through. And with a bit of adaptation coming in game number 4, Meta Pusher, how do you expect for things to continue from there?
I expect we'll keep seeing solo tank because looking at the rest of the map pool that are still allowed, there's a lot of larger maps, Fish Market, and we know FNATIC loves to run the triple tank on Fish Market. We've actually seen him against this team run Sky in the triple damage, and he actually 1v1'd Faenex on the Makoa. Way in the back, bugzy just bodied him. So there's some good potential for some fun stuff.
Bitey, thoughts?
Yeah, I think what we're going to see is they're going to kind of stabilize on their drafting and play something. They got to have a piece of that rock couple because when you have that, you've just got that break, and Nara can pop her damage reduction and get full healed in under 2 seconds, 3 seconds, depending on who's supporting her. And I think it's going to rotate around what kind of picks, besides those 2 rock people, are going to counter out the rest of Navi's lineup. So FNATIC has the ability to, it's just they have to stay on point. We might see still solo tanks coming through. I think Bugzy's Grover is insane. I think it always complements having that big boy tank just sitting there to have that Grover spit right in with a nice vine.
The more I hear rock people and rock family, the more I want there to be a Dwayne Rock Johnson skin for Terminus. Like back in his wrestling days, just equipped with all of
He's
that.
got like a chair instead of
Yeah.
his axe.
A chair.
That'd be really sick.
And when he ults, you can have a ring form up around him.
Oh, wow. That would be really nice. Where's Thomas? We need to tell Thomas hold these ideas.
Hopefully he's watching.
Yeah.
Take note, man.
That one's
Take
free.
Note.
That one's free. Next one
There
you're
you
going to
go.
build for.
Just make sure you credit us. That's what we care about here. But with that, Jaguar Falls is actually going to be the next map coming on through. So, Meta Pusher, what do you expect to see?
I think triple tank from Navi. I really expect him to use it and rely on the big HP pools.
I think you're going to see FNATIC probably run a solo. We saw them, I think if you remember, they had a major matchup with Nip and that triple tank game versus a solo tank. And it was a really interesting matchup.
Yeah, that just kind of imbalance between the two. It leaves a lot more in the air to be figured out. So, Meta Pusher, with the momentum that Navi had going straight 3-0 to start, but then getting a game taken away from them, do you expect that to break into their stride a little bit or just to bounce right back?
I think they'll bounce right back. It's more of a positive for FNATIC than a negative for Navi because going down one set when you've won the past 3 is
It's almost not a factor.
Yeah, not really.
You're like, oh well, we
It's a
get
one-off.
our pick now, and they get their map. So in the competitor mindset, as long as you're 3 up, you're like, oh whatever. If I lose these next 2, I still get map, I still get side. So you get a little bit of control over where you're going to fight. So you get that comfortable pick of, well, do we want first pick or second pick? And what map do we feel like, boys? Let's go to Jag.
So maybe they'll just bring everything out and just kind of go hard there to try and finish it. But it's nice to know when you got that cushioning going on earlier, taking a map off you isn't the biggest deal in the world. But if FNATIC does choose to stick to their guns and just go with a solo tank or something, then Bitey, do you imagine they might run into some trouble there? Get a
Oh,
little
absolutely.
counter?
I mean, we saw in the NIP games that it went 4-3. Those aren't easy. And one mistake, 3 tank is essentially a very simple style. You got really big guys all crowding around, and they're all making plays, and some of the ults are big, some of the ults not so much, but it's just you can make so many mistakes and just clean it right up.
something they could do to sort of match that without having the tank is picking up the Grok, which has been a really big impact throughout the set, and he's kind of a pseudo second front line. He's got a big HP pool, and he's got a lot of effective health. He's able to Ghost Walk, you know, immune a lot of stuff. He's healing himself. Just because he doesn't have those big numbers, just base health numbers, doesn't mean he's not tanky.
And potentially with the way that Grok ended up doing on Na'Vi with Mutu, didn't perform very well. So, Bitey, do you think they might steer away from that or actually go ahead and flex it somewhere?
A map like this, I wouldn't count them out. I would say that there's still a really strong potential that you'll see a Grok, and maybe Navi will go for it or FNATIC. It just kind of depends on where their drafts are heading. But this is a much different map from Frog Isle. There aren't gigantic sight lines. There's a lot of little nooks and crannies where you can hide your totem and still be in combat because it pierces through walls. So you can have the totem in a secure space while you go around zapping people and maybe even running a speed deck to just kind of get in and out real quickly.
Terminus, Bomb King, taken away, and his Rock Lady.
No Rock people for FNATIC, so.
Yeah. Only a Nara over for Na'Vi.
They kind of banned that Terminus away from themselves.
Yeah.
I guess Na'Vi probably would have taken the Terminus, but and gave it FNATIC the Inara, but I think I like that. Thiel's looked so good as the solo tank Inara.
But getting the Makoa and the Buck locked in for FNATIC.
I believe that Buck's going to add a lot of control to the field because of his reset potential. We just saw him in a set not too long ago eat an entire Shaolin Q that was thrown at him. And I think that potential to just help himself self-sustain lets him be that half-tank flex and flank and DPS. Everything rolled into one.
We are going to see Grok again for Na'Vi. And that, I don't know. How do you feel about that meta pusher?
I like it because you're taking. I'm pretty sure FNATIC was going to run it because if you look at the tanks Na'Vi has, the Inara and the Ruckus, those are both free shock pulses for the Grok, and now they take it away from them.
You know what they're going to do? They're probably going to go CC. They have a Makoa, and when you run that totem against Makoas,
So frustrating.
It drives them insane because it's just, it not only is it during the duration of your totem, it's 2 seconds after it dies. So you've basically got this field of protection for anybody on the point where they just cannot get hooked.
And
so I think that's going to be a pretty hard thing for them to deal with, especially when the Ruckus wants to shoot people.
And they just chose the Damba into this, so that's another really good option where a lot of CC can be immuned out by the Grok.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, it's a power pick. And I guess I get where they're going for with the Maldamba and the Fernando. They're very safe tanks. You know, these Makoa and Fernando are the big boy squad, OG.
The OG
Yeah.
duo, yeah.
And they can get a lot of work done. They got good CC, good control, and we're just going to see what they can end up stepping into with
I
it.
like these last two picks from Na'Vi. You get Mutu on something, like we said, something that he's comfortable on. His old, reliable Indroxus that just destroys people.
And that seemed to be a little bit of the issue in the game before. Get people a little more comfortable in the next game and see how they do. So, casters, Evan and Vox, why don't you go ahead and take it over?
What do you think, Vox?
I think that the Drogo's last pick into the Androxus is risky, but honestly, after the previous performances, we're looking pretty good here.
Yeah.
FNATIC look interesting, but the CC totem could be the cleanse answer that we're looking for.
It really could be, but I also have a feeling that FNATIC have found a little rhythm. I think that their draft looks a lot better. I think they banned out the Terminus. Yes, they don't have a rock person or a rock part of the rock family, as Spidey over there keeps telling us. Do they have a rock band?
They could have an Eevee. She
They
could
might
have
have the
Troublemaker
game.
staff.
I haven't seen
Maybe.
people playing it in a while. It might be more of a Guitar Hero style.
Could be. I think with a team game like Paladins, you're more kind of going for like you got somebody on drums, somebody on bass, somebody on guitar. Who's the vocals from FNATIC? Who's the one with the voice?
Who? You?
I don't know. Maybe.
You are the voice.
Maybe. I could be. FNATIC, you're looking for a DPS? All aim, no brain, folks. Trust me. Don't put me on a support.
Oh, you got some brain right there, you know. And I think as we continue to talk about Paladins, hopefully we can elucidate some pointers for you all watching at home. This is a best of 7. It is a 3-1 lead for Na'Vi, and FNATIC looking to come back, if possible, at least inch toward a tied set. And it would be a game 7 if they were going to win. And you have to take it just one set at a time, one game at a time, really.
Good grief, then. So it is Kratos with the CC immune totemic ward right there. Bugzy was yet to select a legendary. I'm expecting a Scorch right there, but Thiel noticeably was running Leviathan on Makoa as well for the CC immunity of their own. Mutu was not Godslayer, it was Dark Stalker for the Androxus, looking for the damage here, but Fisheko, Fusillade, and the morale boost just wants to get Dragon Punches rolling again.
Well, who doesn't? Mutu, careful, waiting.
It's a very flamboyant unicorn we just saw. Ooh, Faenex walks straight into danger though, gets pulled in. Fortunately, massive emitter shield is able to keep him safe. Only aerial assault, but it's enough to make sure that 440 health pool isn't really touched to start off with.
bugzy's in trouble. He's going to get healed up, but now Faenex at least finding a good amount of pressure. FNATIC rotated a good time to alleviate some of the focus that was on bugzy, but he's still not in a great spot. I think Thiel's going to have to come in and find a hook here, otherwise bugzy's dead. And he is. Faenex finds one. Now Mutu collapses. I think FNATIC are going to push this here, and Thiel going to the shell shield. All he can do is run.
The problem is Thiel was moving around to try and get a dredge anchor in to alleviate some of the pressure onto bugzy, but what do you do when there's a totemic ward in front of you and all you can hook is Grok and you go, okay, well, man, the hook champion with the turtle attached isn't doing so well now.
Well, it's just a turtle at this point. If the hook isn't there,
it really is.
It's just a turtle. And what's a turtle doing in the realm?
No, maybe some interesting stuff. They are pretty magical so far, but
Chat, is a turtle a reptile or an amphibian?
Oh no, don't start this again.
50% of people get it wrong.
Is Drogo's a dragon or a lizard? Is a dragon just a lizard with wings?
He's a Tyrannosaurus. Tyrannosaurus booster pack. I don't know.
Something like that. Something like that. A Draco.
He's a Draco. Yeah,
maybe,
sure.
something like that. Anyway, just pushing forwards. Na'Vi, they're getting a lot of ground very quickly, and you can see that little min-max elements like this of the Inara impasse going out there mean that FNATIC have a lot of difficulty outputting constant damage towards their roster. And also, Na'Vi have drafted a composition. Hold on a second. How fast is Mutu going right there?
Pretty fast. Is it Elusive 4 that he's running? Probably. We've seen this adopted quite a lot, but no, he doesn't actually have it at all. Maybe this is just a little bit of a speed boost.
Potentially from Grok, I'm wondering.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at the loadout of Grok in just a second once they do respawn, but spunkki's going to run away from base. FNATIC have managed to stabilize for the time being. Little min-max elements like this, it's going away from the normal, and do we see anything in here? No, not at all. So that was just actually, I think, purely just Mutu on Androx zoomed across the map.
He was just looking smooth.
Yeah.
He was just looking smooth. He's got his Reeboks, his Nikes on, and he's got the, the track suit, and he's just ready to run. And that's the case Mutu as well. Always focused.
We've got to start giving our players energy drinks. They move far too fast.
Well, he doesn't need any more monster. He's already playing like one. Mutu lights out on the headshots, but can he hit one now? Misses 4, reloads the revolver. It's got 6 bullets, and somehow next patch it will have 8. That's realm magic for you.
There it is, moving forwards with Ancient Rage from FNATIC, trying to stop this push from going further forwards. Thiel's getting melted, though, has to run away here. Mutu tries to land the nail on the coffin, but Thiel stays alive, kills Mutu, and ends up getting the dredge anchor as well onto a backline champion. Unbeat takes him down in response, though.
This is really good for Creative. Creatives could get something here, and he's trying to find Gerrah on the backside. If he does get the kill. Look at how tanky Grok is. A pseudo frontline indeed. Spunkki, do it.
See, there's the problem. Na'Vi running out of base right there. They left all their Rex sprays in base. They didn't take them with them onto the battlefield. Got to go back and get those.
Saibate can't, win a fight unless he Rex sprays. So I think that's what he was waiting for, just the perfect on-camera moment. These guys know when they're being spectated. Actually, they don't. So it's surprising they end up doing all these things all the time, just in case they are. Through time and space, lining up for Spunkki. We've seen him make some incredible plays here. Will this be one of them? The Dragon Punch lined up, and I expect to see it through time and space onto the tank, and it is, and it avoids Fisheko taking down Inara.
Fisheko then staying alive, lands damage on the Faenex, reduced to a third of their health, burst down by bugzy for a double kill with the fireballs there, and looks for even more. A double kill true coming out, delayed triple, and FNATIC do defend successfully, retaining 3 ultimates, or 2 ultimates in the tank.
And there's the get Rex spray.
There it is.
There it is.
That's what we're looking for. I do like seeing we saw a little bit of boost spray come out on one of the other maps, and I do quite like that because, against a dark or a light surface, it sort of changes color a little bit, glows in the dark on Serpent Beach, a lot of nice aesthetics, but Saibate definitely sticking with the wreck this time around, and on a 12 streak, really deserves to, I think.
See, I think at this point, when you're looking at sprays and the tier list of sprays, the get wrecked happens to fall very high. I think it's a standard A. I think the B+ of the Boo is because it's situational. Boo works best when you have ultimates that really do surprise you, like I think Leon and Genos. Those are champions I would run the boost spray on, because after you Enlightenment and after you through time and space and kill somebody, I mean, what better thing to see on your kill feed than Boo?
Maybe a Godslayer and Androxus with the, the massive reversal coming out as well, but bugzy now on a 10 streak for FNATIC is looking to try and get this point fight started off, goes straight towards the objective, looking to hold it down versus Unbelievable. Shield is up, blocking all of that shock pulse potential from Creatives, and that'll force around Natus Vincere to try and engage from another direction. Faenex is in trouble though, down for the first kill in this round, and that's a bit of a turnaround from what we saw last time.
First kill a lot farther from the last kill, and that's exactly what they need to find. These two teams are so evenly matched, and Conduit bringing Creatives closer to Inara, and that's where they need to be. This healing totem is healing a lot, but not enough to withstand the pressure from Fisheko and bugzy, and Saibate on a 15 streak. definitely making a statement here.
Now, putting a bit of chip poke towards the Ruckus. Unfortunately, isn't running Cauterize by the looks of things, and Cybait is getting out of danger. No, ends up going down to Faenex.
Broke his back
Mutu
there.
cleans up Fisheko as well, and now Na'Vi, potentially with an overextension from FNATIC, feeling a little bit too comfortable, have a way back into the objective, and now they're sitting pretty healthy.
FNATIC seeing Cybait do the Bernie and fall down in the corridors. Not looking good for morale. And Thiel by himself on the point, forced to Ancient Rage. There's no hook available, fighting in the totem, and here's a Hexafire, and this is keeping him so healthy. But look at this through time and space as well, trying to buy time, but it's not enough as Faenex falls to Cybait, and a great shot by Gerrah takes Mutu out of the sky.
And Mutu with all that precision, all of that muscle memory, it just doesn't matter because Gerrah's looking at them with the snake and firing off shots. Unbelievable, takes out
What a
bugzy, but
bloodbath.
Fisheko has taken out Creatives too, so there is no sustain left on the objective for Unbelievable beyond this Astral Mark from Janus right now. And how much can spunkki output in the face of 4 enemies? Pulled into danger, Faenex shut down. FNATIC retake the objective.
Cybait, Fisheko doing so well, but I can't believe it. spunkki literally just used that through time and space, and he is at 63% charged back already, and that is because he's killed, I think, someone with a streak. 99%, 87% now. I think that through time and space may play a factor here, especially since Sonara is back on the point, and so is Gerrah.
Look at the amount of healing that Unbelievable just got as well. Channels up, but Dragon Punch comes through, shuts down Creatives. A lot of kills coming out just at once. Dread Serpent as well on point. spunkki trying to get through time and space
90.
ready. Only Faenex is there. Can they hold?
They're not expecting it. They're not expecting it, Vox. I think if he goes for it and hits somebody, no, he's going to pull off. He lost Faenex. And now it would be to no avail. spunkki on a 5 streak, doing well for his team, but not well enough to stop FNATIC turning the tides and taking the advantage here in game number 5.
Only suitable they're turning the tides. They do have Makoa on their team as well, in command of maybe the Seas with their Dredge Anchor, and that has actually been impactful this game despite the CC totem picked up by Creatives. Thiel actually getting a double kill there, leading the charge forwards, looking for the delayed triple kill as Cybait cleans up Faenex, and now FNATIC are trying to zone. Na'Vi will be waiting to group up to try and get out of their base here, but I'm looking at the ultimate charges as Faenex and Inara come off cooldown. Seismic Crash is almost available, but through time and space, the only power play up and left available right now compared to maybe the Buck Wild for FNATIC.
I think you also saw how much they're prioritizing taking this Grok down because of the Dragon Punch going on to Creatives when Inara was actually right in front of him. Creatives finds Thiel now, and he has really been a monster here in this game. Cybait backing off, one shot of the shotgun hits onto the Ruckus's top half of the body, but he's going to jump back and in midair again will do the Bernie and fall down. Creatives finding that kill yet again.
So far, so good. Na'Vi holds strong. 1 minute and 20 seconds left for FNATIC to try and push this through, and in that time, we saw Seismic Crash used by Natus. We also saw FNATIC able to get Immortal online, Dragon Punch, and Buck Wild. They're now looking to get Ancient Rage online again as well, looking to also try and get the Dread Serpent charged up, and Ult Economy could be held in the tank here potentially, but if maybe Na'Vi can have something baited out of them, it would be a good look for FNATIC moving forwards.
Nice wall. It separates both of the front lines. What a great play from Unbelievable. Thiel was just about to go support bugzy, who was trapped a little bit ahead of him, but now Fisheko kind of outplaying, making up for that loss, finding 2 kills, and one of them onto the healer, spunkki. And this is actually really good. It's both healers that he's picked up. Natus Vincere now just getting Creatives back. But Thiel takes Unbelievable down, and it's a continued snowball for them.
You know, I thought when the stabilization came through from Na'Vi, when bugzy went down on Fernando, that would have been the opportunity for them to survive, but they're just underestimating the damage potential of Drogoz again and again as Dragon Punch goes through, channels straight towards Faenex. Can they make it a base? They can. 30% retrieved and saved still, but Creatives rushes out of base to be able to take Fisheko down.
And Mutu, the silent assassin, actually gets taken down. It's the damage over time, I think, from bugzy's Flame Lance that kills him, even though a reversal blocks off from most of the DPS coming from in front.
Look at what's going
Thiel
on.
in the back line as well. This is such a skirmish, Fox. You're right. There's no control here between these two teams, yet it also is extremely calculated as to where they're going and why they're prioritizing these fights.
The thing is, there are ultimates being thrown out left, right, and center. If Virtus Pro were the epiphany, or just the epitome, excuse me, of control of ultimates, FNATIC and Na'Vi here, they're just not holding anything back. They throw everything they can towards the payload. The defense is successful, however.
It has been a long time since I've said epitome. And that is a fantastic
They
word.
need epiphany,
Thank you.
though. They need an epiphany.
I think they
Actually,
could have an
FNATIC
epiphany.
had one last game. The triple DPS worked out. This time around, Thiel is doing a lot of work on Makoa. You can see them here, picking up a double kill and then looking for a third as Faenex runs into trouble. But is this going to be what they need?
I feel like FNATIC already got what they need. That last win was a bit of a catharsis. catharsis, taking away that Terminus and finally dealing with it, acknowledging that was the problem, and now everyone's getting wrecked. Whoever steps near these guys, it's 2-2, so there's a lot more to do here in order to come back from this. Again, facing the only option of victory as a reverse sweep in a best-of-7 series. Not looking too up for FNATIC, but hey, anything can happen still.
Mutu holding the angle, Faenex waiting, then Dragon Punch channel to start things off. Probably looking straight towards the Sonara. Dread's hoping to respond, but it doesn't find anybody, and Fisheko gets out alive.
Oh man, that's actually a lot of value that they got. They get 2 kills. They actually snowball this whole fight off of that Dragon Punch and the follow-up the FNATIC do to commit to it, and spunkki just stellar winding away. The fact that they don't kill him leaves an unknown card on the table, and they've yet to flip it over. It could mean Na'Vi have a chance to come back in because FNATIC have no ults left now.
It's not a true trap card in the sense that it's somebody who can really come back in and influence the fight, but it does save Na'Vi a few seconds on the retake. Fisheko getting burned down. Watch out from behind. Mutu's coming, looking for it.
Uh-oh, and Mutu might have just found ya up into the air, and then Fisheko goes down low. Gerrah takes 4 shots of the blaster, and the accursed arm finds the healer, but Cybate returns fire back onto Mutu, and Cybate now, he's ready to run a spree, but the Hexafire forces him back and buys some good time for Natus Vincere.
Still though, Cybate was poking the entire time. Look at the dominance of Bulk up there, able to still chip towards their opponents, but FNATIC are forced away. 96% for FNC, Na'Vi on the objective for 84% and rising. bugzy goes in, looks to contest, but Immortal is not available, and they swiftly fall down.
Boy, did Faenex melt that shield, and boy, did he melt that Fernando. He's supposed to be able to stand the heat. The man carries around a flamethrower for a living, yet he goes down as well as Faenex after the other fire on the field finds a kill. Mutu takes 2 in response, and the Godslayer, the silent assassin, I won't say his name more than 3 times because I might get flicked into the Shadow Realm, but it will be 3 points on the board for Natus Vincere, now taking the lead over Na'Vi.
So FNATIC have to defend again. We come to a do-or-die situation. If Na'Vi take this push, if they manage to get the payload through, they shut FNATIC down 4-1 and advance through with the higher seeding into the Paladins World Championship, which is what this finals all comes down to. FNATIC, therefore, are looking to hold. They need to hold the angles. They need to make use of the dredge anchor from Thiel, but a miss means that Faenex can engage pretty much for free here, and in they go.
And you have to say, Thiel not looking too healthy, and that Void Grip again showing prowess, showing promise, and showing just value for Na'Vi, and spunkki continues to impress. He says you don't see a lot of the plays that the support makes that really are game-changing, but I think getting Thiel there, not letting him regroup and get healed back up for this defense might have just been one of them.
Void Grip was so important there, as well as the Tempest used by Creative's Grok just to allow Faenex to push up on Ruckus right here. Unbelievable takes out bugzy, and Fisheko's trying to respond, but look at the impasse. Blocks off the space, allows the payload to keep on rolling forward with nobody contesting, buying inches, but those inches could make all the difference.
But it gets it past that big catwalk, right? And that's where the easiest part to defend is. If you can go left side and actually start to contest the point, it opens up a completely different route of offense, and I think a completely different obligation of defense for FNATIC to be aware of. They're the ones who backdoored on this map, and they don't want that to happen to them again. Or to happen to them now after having done it.
No, so Fisheko looking to hold this angle. Mutu's trying to get some jump shots going. spunkki chips down Cybate, very rapidly healed back up again. Creatives could be in danger here. The Grok is ready through time and space channel. Misses everybody though. Unbelievable backs away and stays alive thanks to impasse. And Mutu picks up Cybate.
Unbelievable now goes into the earthen guard. bugzy, it's a last-ditch effort. I'm not sure if it's enough. Mutu lays the blaster, 1 shot. 2 shots. He's going to find at least a couple of kills off of that one as Thiel goes in the Ancient Rage. This is all FNATIC have. This is the last game of their tournament potentially, and it seems to be that way if Mutu keeps firing like this.
Mutu's looking for the damage in the backline. Faenex cleans up, but Cybate stays alive. Buckwild doing serious work. Recovery comes through, and Cybate gets the double kill. 14 seconds left on this defense. People barely making it out of Na'Vi's base. If somebody can touch, if Unbelievable can get there in time, it will mean this payload goes into overtime, but nobody's moving in just yet. They're getting close. Creatives could go to walk in, and Unbelievable's going for it.
bugzy, he has to be worried about this. Creatives goes into the Tempest. It's a huge investment, but spunkki again, 84%. He missed the first through time and space. Will he miss another? It's now 3v5 in terms of FNATIC over Na'Vi, and now 2v5. Make that 5v1. And spunkki, though he has the ultimate charge, is not going to invest it here.
Use it now. Be the sort of the dark helmet. I'm sitting there, maybe the dark down, but just from behind the scenes, it's just like, do it.
Do it.
Do it. Use it. Use it. Take Thiel down.
It's funny, you know, Genos might have these two little, like, the Heaven, Angelic Genos saying, save your ult for next round. Yeah. And the Devil Genos saying, go for the top play.
I feel like
get on
one
Fox's top 5
Are we
plays.
sure it's Angels or Devils, or is it like Elven Path and Bitey?
I think it's Elven Path and Bitey.
At this
sure.
point, yeah.
Yeah.
Damage dealt charts being heavily led by FNATIC right now, with a lot of stuff coming out of Buck, a lot coming out of Fisheko right now, but the sustain from Na'Vi is really pushing them to the limit. We're 16 minutes into game number 5 here, map number 5 of Jaguar Falls, and so far, Na'Vi looked in control that last capture round. Mutu's coming out swinging as well on Androxus. We'll have to see if FNATIC preempt it this time and stay in control.
The FNATIC are playing really well. They're just playing against one rock person, and they don't have one. So Fisheko is carrying the weight of dealing with her quickly. Good Dread Serpent, and it will find Mutu, but that's not the target he wanted. You can kill him a lot easier than with one of those one-hit KO ultimates. You've gotten spunkki again. Misses, though separates the team of FNATIC. Not for long, albeit, as they get right back onto their ways, and a hook comes through, but misses from Thiel.
I think that kill onto Mutu was actually really important because the Dragon Punch actually landed into the catwalk to start things off. Wouldn't have managed to reach maybe the Inara in time, so getting a kill out of that ultimate wasn't important, but Mutu's in the backline now looking for frags. Faenex an unbelievable pick up 2, and Mutu stays alive.
It's game point. Could it be finals point here? The seeding determined for the HRX winner.
Crash.
Seismic Crash comes in. Mutu finds 2, and he finds 3! Mutu Stina! We're calling him by his own name because he damn well deserves it. Finds a triple kill against FNATIC. And I can't say his name again because I don't want to taste the blood of that revolver anywhere near me. He is a danger to the realm. And Natus Vincere know that as he ults. And it's going to be them taking the best seeding here and a 4-1 victory over FNATIC in the finals of the Paladins World Championship Qualifiers.
Goodness me, right that there at the end is why we see Dragon Punch maybe not wasted on taking down Androxus, because as soon as the Godslayer gets into the backline, as soon as the Godslayer gets to run rampant, then all of a sudden the games are over. And you can see there's some friendliness between the teams. You can hear their yells coming out there as well. Both have qualified at this point, and whilst they're playing for seeding, whilst they're playing for the prizing on the line here as well, I think there's a lot of relief between these two teams because they've made it through the bracket. They made it through or got knocked out of the PPL Fall Finals. They've now made it through the wild card bracket here, qualified for Hi-Rez Expo, and they are coming to Worlds in 2018.
And I don't think they worry that these losses mean anything. And this is a totally different set. I mean, despite, right, going 4-1, you saw FNATIC felt like they were there, and it felt like both teams gave a really good effort. It was very entertaining. Paladins, it was a lot of back and forth, and now at this point, you know, you could play playground hand clap games and feel good while Cybate gets. I got to get my hair adjusted. I just lost 4-1. You know, I can't be losing and looking weak on camera. So you know, he goes to the #1 priority.
One or the other, right?
Yeah, it's one or the other. Either win and look like crap, or you lose and you have to look really good because everyone's going to be questioning you, looking at you a little differently if you're like a loser and you're looking. That's unacceptable.
No, and it was just a really good set from both these teams. The adaptation which FNATIC demonstrated does still really prove to us that they had a lot of control in this set with their drafting, but in the end, Na'Vi just really held it down. I think that without the addition of Totemic Ward Grok, would have been a different story, but hey, the first pick, first ban Makoa, the age-old story, might be starting to head towards the bottom of the ocean right now.
Well, Makoa, he's usually in the ocean. This time, he can't help FNATIC stay afloat against Na'Vi, who take the final spot and the best seeding here in terms of the 4 and 5 seed heading into the Paladins World Championship in January. That's it from the casting side of things. Desk, go ahead and break down the final game of today.
Whatever it may be with the players, we're always looking good and swagged out here at the desk.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Guarantee it. But Navi's feeling extra swagged out after that victory, 4-1, just cheering alongside the good old cheer right here.
He's so
He's
excited.
so excited. Is he wagging his tail and everything?
Yeah, he's just happy to be here.
Yeah, so
and that was
happy.
such a fun game to be watching out, ending on a 4-3 finally.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, it went all the way. It even looked like FNATIC was going to take it for just a moment until Mutu, he went off
He
there.
popped off with that huge triple kill. And really, I mean, I think that was what kept FNATIC in the game early on, was Mutu. Just kind of playing lackluster, maybe taking a minute to get his foothold. That is the Andrew is a really big stable pick for him, but he hadn't got to play it yet this set.
Yeah, I mean, the Andy pick, you know, ever since he got that nerf pass on him, he's been a little bit trickier on getting stuff done. You can't go in, you can't go out just as fast, so you have to be a lot smarter and a lot quicker on the draw to make sure you don't get fragged out. And I think at the start of the game, he found it pretty hard, but once he got his groove together, you see it come through. And I think another big thing that happened in that game is that Grok CC totem just blocks Makoa for so long. But conversely, the Fernando and the Drogos playing together, there was a great amount of fighting just for AoE control. That fireball takes up the entirety of that tunnel, and it's so much zoning, plus you've got expectorates flying around. I mean, that's, I think, what really let him hold on, because the Makoa, anytime that Grok's online, he just can't get a good hook.
So then, with that AoE control available to FNATIC, then what would you say, Meta Pusher, was it that Na'Vi actually did to basically negate that?
Very good objective play around the point, and then very consistent damage from both the Ruckus, the Androxus, and the Grok as well. When you have the Drogos fire spits and stuff, it's big damage, but it's not easy to confirm. Everybody's going to hit their shots and stuff, but it's consistent damage from those laser beams. Hit scan is OP.
Yeah, well, it's okay, easy there. But I mean, he's got a good point. Is like Nando can't really approach a Ruckus when he's got all guns blazing and all the things are turning on him. He's not the one to square up on him. His shield's going to get destroyed, so he has to be careful on his positioning. Now, when the Grok's up too, and that Makoa's trying to give him a helping hand, and he throws that hook, and it just dinks off of him and flies away. I mean, that's I think where the hardest part to deal with this is because their point game is just that much stronger.
Yeah, so Faenex was doing what he tends to do on the Ruckus. You also had Unbelievable on the Ainara. We talked about the Rock couple quite a few times and how important they were. But going back to the draft phase a little bit there, Meta Pusher, when Terminus ended up getting banned away, handing over the Ainara to Na'Vi, what made FNATIC feel comfortable with that choice?
I think they were looking for the Koa, really. This was the first time it got played this set. The first time it made it through the ban phase, and Thiel's such a good Makoa. I mean, he's one of the original, the guy who grinded it so hard. And then it's really frustrating because when you're somebody who is focused so much time on being able to land those hooks consistently, like Body said, the Grok CC totem is just a slap in the face.
It's like taking your fun away because, you want to try to get that Ainara while she's exposed. She's got 6 seconds of immunity roughly. When she pops that big old guard in her face, you can't hook her in. So sometimes you got to oh, it's burned, it's burned, it's burned. She's not going to heal anymore. She's good, she's good. And you throw that hook. And then that guy's like, bud. Right at you.
Got his eye on you there. Because FNATIC did go away from, we talked about how if they went single tank, it might have been a problem. They made sure not to do that, but still ran into problems. Bitey, besides the fact that there were clear counters coming out of Navi's draft, do you think there were any other particular components that contributed to that shutdown?
Yeah. The slow rise of Mutu's Andy, just kind of getting the viability up and being sure that he's playing it right, because once he found his groove, that's what kind of carries him in. And you've got all these, you've got double support on the field. So anytime that somebody's in danger, or conversely, if Grok's like, hey, Andy, go way back there and go kill him, he's going to pop that ult and he'll just zip back into that backline and probably take a few people with him or clean it all out like he has.
And the fact of the matter is, it went 4-3.
Yeah.
It was really close. So what was it that FNATIC did to enable them? Was it that AoE control that they had, or was it other factors, Meta Pusher, that allowed them to just bring the game that far?
I think it was the AoE control. Like Buddy said, the Drogos was doing a lot of damage, and they picked it specifically into the Androxus counter, and it worked out well for a while. It ended up not working out, and they also had the Buck as well. There are a bunch of very good passive damages and it feels weird saying that with Buck, but that's how Buck is played now. He's passively, he sits back, he waits for you to aggress on him, and it worked out really well for them in the beginning, but just the last point fight is what really cost him.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that always let him bring it back was those punches. Landing that good one punch, taking out really any piece of that Na'Vi team, gave him that minute opening. It's just when they get back in and they have Rock Lady, no punch to deal with her. She's big, and she's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Rock's not easy to crack.
No.
But Na'Vi actually was really close if you take a look at how they did throughout the bracket today. If they would have went 4-0, then that would have been a long time since they found any game taken off of them. But with that 4-1 victory, it's kind of a little taste of how things are going to be going into HRX. But starting off with Bitey, general thoughts on the gameplay today?
I mean, everybody came in trying to, in the NA side of the brackets, really trying to prove that something of our meta could work out very well, and I think honestly it just didn't pan out. We tried to adapt, but it just looked like it wasn't going to happen because the hero pools, the mastery, we just weren't there to pull those picks out. And then, one of the teams didn't have any blasters. So that's its own set of problems.
That it was really highlighted in that matchup.
Yeah, I think like overall view from like what I'm taking from this LAN is that effective health pools are so important. It's really difficult to pick these low HP damage and flanks into this big health pools. There's always
Yeah. But, of course, with that coming on through, we do have a better idea of how things are going to end up panning out with HRX, with that all being figured out in the seeding and everything. So taking a look at that, we should be able to just go ahead and get a good feel for how things are going to be there, with Group A and Group B being figured out, with 4th seed also established and 5th seed. And for anybody that missed it this weekend, in case you were wondering and you're thinking, I'm not exactly sure who's all going to be there, we had Virtus Pro come in, we had G2, Ninjas in Pajamas, Na'Vi, and FNATIC. That should all be facing off really nicely there. But taking a look at Group A specifically, we do have HRX coming in on January 4th through 2nd, where all these teams are going to be finally getting to battle out against each other. So looking at your screen right there, many things are actually getting established, and for anyone that's wanting to begin making their predictions now on, you can start to do so as things get already figured out.
Yeah, we've got this really nice rematch from last HRX. The names are different, but the Ninjas in Pajamas versus Kanga. Back then it was Burrito versus Abyss, right? They weren't even Kanga at that time?
I
think they were Abyss.
No, it was definitely Kanga, I thought, at the time, unless they changed their times over.
But the rematch is super hype.
When it's been a while since that match happened, but you still kind of have it fresh, especially when you're going to the same event, the same venue, a little bit of throwback there. So with that, Bitey, what kind of preparation would go through?
I mean, a lot of it comes with just looking at current metas and trends. It's always about figuring out what regions are doing. And I think if this LAN shows you anything, is you have to be on the ball and figure out. And sometimes it's just within that week. I think that's what really mixed everything up so far, is that everything flipped with 1 or 2 patches, and it kind of resets you just a little bit to figure out what more you can run. And I think that's what's going to determine who's in control.
Everyone got to take a look at Group A. There's always a B to the A. So Group B at HRX, looking at those matchups. Now that we know how Natus Vincere and FNATIC faced off against one another, a little prediction going on there. Meta Pusher, what are your thoughts on these?
I think this is going to be an interesting bracket. I think Group A is probably the stronger one. There's a lot of really good teams there, but I'm really excited for this potential FNATIC G2 matchup in Match 3, just because that's a really old rivalry, and both teams are pretty loud. There's a lot of unpredictability in both of their drafts. That's one of the big matches that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those two teams have battled against each other so many times in the past, and they've got really strong personalities. So I think it's going to be one of those ones where the whole arena starts getting loud, because it's going to be the NA boys, the only NA team who made it through. And you're going to
Our last hope.
Yeah, our last hope. And the dogs are really trying to get them out there. But, like, it's going to be a loud game. Everybody who's in NA is probably going to root for G2, even if we're rivals or not. And everybody in the crowd who's European is going to be hollering for that.
The crowd themselves are going to be there too. And remember, January 4th through 7th, of course, tickets have been sold out, but don't forget to tune in through our streams. Before we throw things on over to the interview, it's been wonderful having you all here. So, Bitey, last thoughts for everyone watching.
I'd say, if you take it from anything from me, lost some awful games, had a rough week, but keep practicing. Don't give up. Just work through it. Figure out what your next step is, and just keep going forward. Don't look back.
Same. And I want you all to know I love you.
Aw, what nice sentiment.
Oh, I love you.
Love buddy. We're big coach.
We both lost. We gotta go.
We're gonna work some of the drafts.
It's been nothing but love over here at the desk. They've got their coaching thing going on there, trying to share their strats with each other. But we got an interview on standby as well. So, Rabies, why don't you go ahead and take it away and close it out for us?
Thank you so much, Gabby. And I am here with the member of Na'Vi, Unbelievable. Man, you guys come back all the way. You lose Thursday, Friday, but you had an amazing, outstanding performance Saturday, Sunday. Please elaborate just a little bit on what you guys were feeling going into the tournament Saturday, Sunday.
Well, we had a really rough start, losing 0-3 to NIP, which was our scrimming partner for a long time. So we knew each other really well and how we play, but we didn't expect to lose that badly. So our morale went down, but we also knew that the gauntlet was going to be different versus NA teams, which is much more comfortable to face for us.
Right.
And it really worked out well, as you can see.
Why do you think EU has an easier time dealing with North America?
It's more like we scream at each other all the time, EU guys. So we know what to expect from each other. So when we face different drafts, different meta that NA has compared to EU, it's like a lot easier to deal with because they do weird stuff compared to EU meta. And
what's the weird stuff you're talking about? Like, what do you feel is what is really holding North America back right now? Because we're seeing 4 EU teams go on to HRX and 1 North American team. There's got to be something there.
There's so much. It's just completely different.
Yeah.
They have different kind of legendaries. They use different kind of champions.
Sure.
Like they like to go Pip Mega Potion, which is really popular here. Not in EU.
Yeah, you don't touch it.
They don't even play much puck.
Right.
They started now because of the meta, but
yeah.
it's like they're a few steps behind. Seems like.
Fair enough.
At least looking at this tournament, EU.
Yeah, all EU. You know, and you guys added Faenex at some point in your roster. He was the latest addition to you guys. How has that helped you guys grow to the next level? What does he bring to the team?
Oh, Faenex is always cheerful. He's always around. He likes to jump around. He even put a penguin suit. He's the funny guy. He's always motivating us to play better. He's also the tank player, so it's really easy to follow him in the battlefield. So he brings a lot to the team.
Does he do any of the shot calling for you guys in the front line?
Well, we all do it, but he's one of the more vocal ones. So it's nice to listen to him and get our team stuff going with that.
Did you guys boot camp before coming over to this event?
Yes, we boot camped for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So it was a long boot camp. Most of the other teams did 1 week.
Right.
So we had longer time to prepare. And it paid out.
That definitely did. You know, heading out over to HRX, you guys, like you said, you lost NIP early, but you had such a dominating performance in the second half of the tournament. Well, I think it was 3-0, 3-1, 3-0, 4-1, 4-0. Last question here is, what's going to be your regiment moving on to HRX?
Well, we're going to practice even harder because HRX is the real tournament, the biggest one. So we're going to boot camp again before HRX and just keep playing EU teams because NA teams aren't
not touching it. Oh, you're killing me, man.
Plus the pink difference, so we can't really.
Fair enough. Well, you guys did a great job. I'm here with, once again, Unbelievable of Natus Vincere as they have secured their spot in HRX. That's going to do it for us here over at Hi-Rez for the World Qualifier and all these teams. From everybody here at Hi-Rez, we hope you have a lovely weekend, and thank you so much for tuning in.